For most of this season, the Seattle Mariners weren't thinking about the World Series. They were thinking about surviving, about convincing a skeptical city that the team was worth saving. In August, they were 13.5 games back, their season uninspiring, their future uncertain. But then, the kid came back. The team came on. The fans came out. The big unit won the big showdown, and refused to lose became the rallying cry of this most unlikely pennant contender. 4 times in a single week, the Mariners faced games in which defeat meant elimination. They won them all in this ballpark. And in 3 of those games, the winning pitcher was the man they'll hand the ball to tonight, once again facing the end of their season. This is the man who, more than any other, turns the Kingdome into a madhouse. The man who gives the Mariners the edge over anybody. Even the best team in baseball, the Cleveland Indians, who now have a 3-2 lead following their win at home on Sunday. For Cleveland, the World Series is just a victory away, but that win will be tough to get tonight against the man who has the Mariners believing they'll refuse to lose again. It's been a cold and damp day in Seattle, but inside the Kingdome, the heat is on. 57,000 plus will be roaring, hoping those tickets will be good again tomorrow night. The Mariners were a sub-500 club on the road all season, but a different team here. 4-1 in the postseason, and Randy Johnson on the hill trying to push this LCS to its limit and force a Game 7. Hi, everybody. Bob Costas along with Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker. The headline in yesterday's Seattle Post-Intelligencer, it's 2 or die. That's what the Mariners have to do. Win 2 here. Looking for any edge they could get. They tried to give Randy Johnson just a little bit of help. Maybe they didn't get away with it. To explain, here's Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Well, a few minutes ago, the Indians complained from their dugout that the mound was a little bit too high. So they went out and checked the mound. The umpires, headed up by the executive director of umpires, Marty Springstead, they found that, in fact, the mound was too high, a half an inch too high, and they felt that that would favor Randy Johnson. So they shaved it down a half an inch all the way around, and now they can play ball. Bob?
Well, they're going to change the rule next year, Uke. They actually will raise the mound next year. Perhaps the Mariners just innocently were trying to get the jump on 1996, as if Randy Johnson needs any extra help.
Well, I don't know if the half inch is going to make that much difference in what Randy Johnson throws tonight. If the Indians are worried about that, maybe a piece of plexiglass right in front of them might be a little bit better. I mean, here's a guy, if he's got the fastball, Bob, and the slider going, he's as tough as any pitcher in baseball. And for Randy Johnson, tonight's the night. Go full bore, because if they don't win here tonight, the next time we see Johnson's going to be in Tempe, Arizona.
Well, we haven't seen Dennis Martinez now for a week. He was the Game 1 loser here at the Kingdome against the rookie Bob Wolcott. But now, with a tender knee, elbow, and shoulder, he has a full week's rest at age 40. The oldest starting pitcher in the major leagues, but when he's right, he's tough.
Well, Edgar Martinez, or I should say Dennis Martinez, the guy with a good sinking fastball, a lot of breaking stuff we're going to see here again from him tonight. And as you said, Bob, he feels very comfortable playing and pitching here in the Dome.
Off now to another Martinez, Edgar. His woes continue. He hit a few balls hard in Game 5 in Cleveland, but he's 1 for 20 in the series, and earlier he spoke with Jim Gray.
With Edgar Martinez, Edgar, you've picked an unfortunate time, 1 for 20. Have you been pressing, and will you be more relaxed now that you're back in the Kingdome?
Yes, I will feel better here. Now the team played better in the Kingdome, and also I've been hitting better here.
Do you expect the magic to continue every time the team has needed you when their backs have been up against the wall, you've come through?
Yes, I like to think that if I'm in that situation, I'll be able to help the team, and hopefully that we pick up the win.
No lack of confidence, but you know what this all boils down to? Well, King Griffey Jr., what does it boil down to?
2 teams fighting without a mascot.
With that bit of wisdom, we send it back up to you, Bob.
Oh, that is so very true. The Mariner Moose and Slider of Cleveland, both on the DL. We'll return with the Indians and the Mariners. We'll have the starting lineups after this from your local station.
Thursday, you know she loves this baby.
I'm putting Susie up for adoption.
You know he doesn't get involved.
Tell me, who did this to you?
What goes through your head when you're beating her?
You know these two are friends.
We're talking about a 4-year-old.
I thought we were practicing medicine.
I tell you something, if it was your kid, you would bet on a miracle.
Maybe you don't know as much as you thought. ER, so good you should watch it and tape it. NBC Thursday.
The Million Man March and what it means for Lexington.
It's your turn after the game.
Back inside the Kingdome, here is tonight's Budweiser Indians starting lineup. And it's a bit different from Game 5. Lofton at the top. He's hitting .450 in the series. Vizquel, the shortstop and number 2 man. Carlos Baerga is at second base. Albert Bell, according to Mike Hargrove, is pretty close to 100%. He'll be in left field. And the cleanup man, Eddie Murray, coming alive. A homer in Game 4, 3 for 3 in Game 5. Manny Ramirez in right field had the 4 for 4 game at the Kingdome in Game 2. Herbert Perry at first base with the left-hander going. Sorrento sits. Even though Thome homered in Games 4 and 5, he's never had a career at-bat against Randy Johnson except in spring training. Alvaro Espinoza, the right-handed hitter at third base. Tony Pena will catch. Sandy Alomar Jr.'s neck has stiffened on him again. Pena caught Martinez very often this season and played well in his one start in this series in Game 4. So Hargrove goes to him and he hits ninth.
There's Randy Johnson. That's per usual for him in each start. And this is it. As I said at the top of the telecast, if the Mariners don't win it tonight, the next time you'll see Randy Johnson will be in spring training in Tempe, Arizona. Nothing to hold back tonight. All of a sudden, Bob, it's a one-game series for Seattle.
And there will be no settling in to this ball game. Listen to the crowd as we get underway. In there for a strike. Drew Coble has the plate. Ken Kaiser has replaced Dave Phillips, who took ill in Cleveland. Kaiser is at first tonight. The plate tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. He cuts and misses at the slider. 0-2. Darrell Cousins at second. Rick Reed at third. Dale Ford left field line. Tim McClellan right field line at the Kingdome. Whoa! On 0-2, it might have been his purpose to shake him up, not to hit him, but to shake him up.
Well, I don't know if he was trying to come high and inside, that high and inside. This is a fastball, and it's right at the head of Kenny Lofton. Here it is one more time. Lofton down after a high inside fastball, and let's see if Johnson goes with a breaking ball here now. That would really be a purpose pitch.
Lofton had 2 hits off Johnson in Game 3, a triple and a single. Scored a run and knocked another home. Did he get a piece of it? He did. Left-handed hitters were just 129 for the year off Randy Johnson. Lofton, the only left-handed batter, not counting switch hitters, in the lineup. Called strike 3.
Here's that last fastball by Johnson right down the pipe, and so much for shaving a half inch off of the mound. You think he's not ready tonight? I'll tell you what. In defense of Kenny Lofton, Bob, after that high inside fastball, he hung in there pretty good on a breaking ball and fouled it, and then gets the fastball for the called third strike.
A ball to Vizquel. .266 for the year. Only a couple of hits in this series. 1-1. If Johnson and company can force a Game 7, Mike Hargrove says it's definitely Charles Nagy for the Indians. It's either Walcott or Belcher. Piniella won't tip his hand for Seattle. Chopped to third. Blowers has to make a tough play across the diamond in time.
the difference already. The AstroTurf, the big bounce, Blowers, a long throw, and he got Vizquel by a step. Beautiful play by Mike Blowers.
It's Blowers, Soho, Cora, Tino Martinez on the infield, Dan Wilson back of the plate as Baerga takes a ball. In the outfield, Vince Coleman returns to the lineup. He was benched for Game 5 in Cleveland. Better turf player than natural grass player anyway. He's back in. Griffey in center, Buhner in right.
See a breaking ball that time from Randy Johnson. He tried to backdoor Baerga with the first one. Missed off the outside. Comes right back with a slider, that tough slider that he has down low and inside he chased.
Two balls and a strike. Johnson, by his own admission, without the good fastball in Cleveland for Game 3. Said that toward the end of the division series with the Yankees, he was pitching on fumes. Roller foul, but when he says he doesn't have his A1 fastball, that means 93-94 instead of 98-99, and the slider can often bail him out. When he gets tired, he'll go to the slider a higher percentage of the time, and the fans rise and roar with 2 strikes. Soho can't get it. Base hit by Baerga. There's an example of a play on which Soho is more towards second base for a right-handed hitter with Johnson pitching than he would ordinarily be. That might be a routine ground ball if he's in the normal shortstop spot, but you can't play anybody just about to pull Johnson, and he was over towards second.
Well, the key, as you said, Bob, is if Randy Johnson does not have his excellent fastball tonight, you're going to see some more fastballs pulled against him tonight. Otherwise, Soho, as you described, playing closer to second if he's got the good one going.
Albert Bell has 3 career homers against Johnson, but is hitless the last 12 times he's faced him. Off speed and in there. Albert had a homer here off Walcott in Game 1, but just 143 for the series. Base hit. Baerga had to skip over it. He'll stop at second. A pair of 2-out singles. And Eddie Murray will have a chance.
Well, there's something you don't see a lot of guys who have hit 50 home runs and knocked in 126 runs over the course of a year do. That was a breaking ball down low and away, and he almost hit Baerga with it. But Bell gives himself up a little bit, takes the pitch to right field, and the Indians wind up with 2 on. What a difference in these fields, Bob. Talking about Cleveland and here with the AstroTurf. And in Cleveland, I mean, you've got natural turf. As a matter of fact, the ball hit by Baerga may have been played by Soho in Cleveland. Different story. We're here in Seattle.
A professional RBI man, if ever there was one. Eddie Murray. 2 on, 2 out in the first. Hit hard, but right at Soho. Cora covers, and they're out of it. To the bottom of the first at the Kingdome, no score. Here's tonight's Budweiser Mariners starting lineup. Lou Piniella filled the card out this way. Coleman in left. Cora at second. What a pesky little guy he's been. Somehow he gets on base and makes things happen. Griffey in center. Martinez, who hit second in Game 5, is back in his usual cleanup spot. Tino Martinez behind him. Tino just 3 for 19. The two combined are 4 for 39. Buhner in right. Flowers at third, Soho at short, and Wilson hitless in the series, but a good defensive catcher will bat 9. Dennis Martinez, 3rd oldest pitcher in baseball. Honeycutt and Eckersley of the A's, who work out of the bullpen, are a bit older. No starter in the majors this year, was 40 years old. Started the year at 9-0, tailed off in the second half, bothered by a tender elbow and a strained knee. throw in some stiffness in the shoulder the last several days, and they held him back a full week. Allowed 3 runs and 5 hits, and was the loser to the rookie Bob Wolcott in game 1.
Well, as did Randy Johnson prior to his first offering tonight. Dennis Martinez, a little prayer before he takes the hill. You know what's going to be interesting here, Bob, in the first inning, after Johnson threw the high inside fastball on Lofton, it'll be interesting to see what happens here with Martinez against these first couple of Seattle hitters. And Dennis Martinez, as we know, is not one of those guys who is afraid to come inside. He loves to pitch inside. He'll back you off and then down and away with the breaking stuff.
He and Roger Clemens, as a matter of fact, hit the most hitters this year in the American League. He threw exactly 100 pitches in 6 1/3 in game 1. He should be well rested and ready. Coleman swings on the first one. Baerga takes care of him, and it's a relief not to contend with Coleman on the paths if you're Martinez. Dennis Martinez, in 5 postseason appearances, 4 of them starts, has never won a game. Appeared in the '79 LCS and World Series with the Orioles, on Baltimore's '83 roster when they won the World Series, but wasn't pitching well that year, and Joe Altobelli never used him in the games that mattered most. Quickly ahead of Cora, 0-2.
Boy, Martinez, one of those guys that loves to work the corners, changes speed so very effectively. And again, a couple of different speeds on the curve and the slider. And as I said, he's not afraid to back you off inside. Look where Pena's sitting.
Curveball tapped in front of the plate. Chasing after it, Pena to make a nice play. Pena and Martinez were shouting at each other as the ball rolled out in front. Either one could have played it.
And a good play by Tony Pena. You know, talking about playing here in the Kingdom, talking with Oral Hershiser, Bob, about the fact the noise level here is so very, very bad. He said that's the one thing that bothered them more than anything else. He doesn't care about the fans screaming and hollering. It's the fact that you can't hear somebody calling a play, or for a pitcher making a play at second base. Shortstop, second baseman covering. That time Pena with a good play to throw out Cora, who they incidentally call the little unit here. Randy Johnson, the big unit. Joey Cora, the little unit, because he makes things happen.
And who would be the medium-sized unit?
Let me go down. I'll be right back, buddy.
All right. I'll hold the fort while you're out of here. Griffey. Up and in for a ball. So relaxed, always. You'd think it was a spring training game by his demeanor. At the batting cage, doing impersonations of the hitting styles of various guys around the league. He's got Luis Gonzalez down perfectly. When I asked him if he could do Bob Uecker, he said, you know, just a little bit. Juan Gonzalez, not Luis Gonzalez. Juan Gonzalez. Just a little bit before my time. The 2-0. 3-0. Maybe he can do Luis Gonzalez of the Cubs, too. But he's got Juan Gonzalez of the Rangers down.
He said he asked him about doing me. He said, with or without a bat. It's the same both ways.
Green light.
You got it.
Walks him on 4 pitches, although the 3-0 didn't miss by much. Sending a message to the league's leading hitter. On the left, what he did against the Yankees, including a 3-run homer and a grand slam in game 4, and the 2-run double that won it in the last of the 11th in game 5. In this series, 1 for 20. Though he had some good ABs in game 5 at Cleveland, a called strike. In fact, the last at-bat against Mesa, he fouled several pitches off, trying to go to the opposite field, take advantage of the wind, then hit one right on the screws to dead center field that Kenny Lofton had to retreat almost to the fence to make the play on and end the game.
Yeah, if he had gotten under that ball, he would have been tied. to game 5. There's that drive, and Lofton back at the wall and makes the catch to win that game. And as you said, Bob, he hit it right on the button. I tell you what, that last pitch that Martinez threw had a little extra on it, too. He threw it by Edgar Martinez.
Third base, fair ball. Espinosa's throw to Baerga covering is just in time as Griffey got down there quickly. No score after 1. And a brief moment of relative quiet at the Kingdome.
Hands were steady, my eyes were clear and bright. My walk had purpose, my steps were quick and light. And I held firm to what I felt was right, like a rock. Like a rock.
Fire's a living thing. Something about that power draws people in.
Geez, there's a fire. Better call a homicide.
A serial arsonist.
2 fires, 2 burnt corpses.
The city burns.
We've gotten nowhere.
Come on!
City of Flames, the premiere of Homicide, Friday on NBC.
Friday night, NBC will kick off its new Friday lineup. Unsolved Mysteries returns with a season premiere look into the curse behind the death of actor Brandon Lee. Bob Stack will get to the bottom of that. That's followed by an all-new Dateline and the season premiere of the acclaimed drama series Homicide. 3 great reasons to stay home. The premiere of NBC Friday. Manny Ramirez will start it in the top of the 2nd. Retired twice with the bases loaded and 2 out in game 5. Hit into a double play to end another inning with 2 men on. A woeful night. Except for game 2 of this series here when he went 4 for 4 with the 2 home runs. He's really had a tough postseason.
Yeah, he really has. And again, he's almost falling into the Edgar Martinez syndrome, Bob, where pitches that are down and away, and that's basically where they try to stay on him, off speed, down low and away. Once in a while try to jam him, but he's chasing pitches and trying to pull pitches that he normally would hit the other way.
.308 with 31 homers during the regular year. Slider low, 2-1.
That's what they try to get him to chase. I'm really surprised here in the first inning plus that Johnson has gone to so many breaking balls, Bob. He may be a little bit tired, and I mean, this is the time he would show it. I mean, if he's going to try and back off a little bit early and save something for in the middle or later innings.
When a guy goes on 3 days rest these days, especially if he has to do it several times, that's short rest. Remember, in your day as a player, I remember watching Sandy Koufax on 2 days rest in the World Series. Mickey Lolich and Bob Gibson did it.
And thank you for your kind words in my day as a player.
My days as a small child watching at home. The 2-2.
Well, the last fastball that he threw to Ramirez prior to that last offering was at 90. He comes right back at 96. So I guess he's all right here in the early going. Now, if he comes up with one about 98 to 100, you're going to have to turn it up another click.
And Ramirez hangs in. The official word from Marty Springstead and the other American League officials here, they shaved the mound down about a half-inch all the way around, but the pitching rubber itself was not lowered.
Right. I don't think it's affecting Johnson's landing area at all.
In the air to shallow right. Coming in, Buhner. 1 out on the 2nd. Everybody talks about 1954. in regard to the Indians and a chance to return to the World Series for the first time in more than 4 decades. That year, they were 111-43 and somehow were swept 4 straight by Willie Mays and the Giants in the World Series. You seldom hear 1948 mentioned. That's the last time they won it all. Beat the Boston Braves in the World Series. They've only been to the series 3 times in their history. The first time, 1920. It was a 9-game series, best of 9 then. They beat the Brooklyn Dodgers 5-2. A series in which Bill Wamsgans, the second baseman, had an unassisted triple play.
I remember that, baby.
You were on base, weren't you? I told you not to take a lead like that.
You know, a 9-game World Series might not be a bad idea. Eliminate that division series and get right to the LCS, and then 9 games, make it 10.
You're trying to get me started again.
No, I'm not. I swear I'm not.
Oral Hershiser there blowing the bubble said he's available for an inning tonight and whatever they might need tomorrow night if there is a game 7. Perry fouls it back. 1-2 to the rookie, who's 0 for 4 in the series.
I love this scene, Bob. I really do. These fans, I mean, these people up on their feet. And how about what they did for Martinez? I mean, here's a guy really scuffling and laboring before he ever got up there. I mean, they were all up and hollering and screaming. I watched the series against the Yankees and saw it, and it's better to be here.
Decent at bat for Perry as he hangs in. High fastball, and he got a piece of it.
If you're up there as Perry is now, and you're sitting fastball, you're fine. I mean, to keep yourself at one level with your swing. But if this guy again, if he goes back to that hard slider, it's when you want to get out in front, you can't check your swing.
And he got it. The slider you were talking about, Uecker.
Well, when you're up there as a hitter, Bob, and you got a guy like Johnson throwing this hard, I mean, if you look for anything else, you have to look for one or the other. I mean, take one and try to whack it. But if you're up there sitting fastball and he throws a pitch like that, I mean, you have to start your swing because you don't have that much time to make the adjustment. You got to be quick, not to really make a bigger swing, just a quicker swing. Yeah. I got a lot of handshakes like that.
Get him next time.
That's right.
Two out, nobody on, no score in the second. Espinosa. You know, you feel clueless up there.
You really do. I'm telling you, it's nice as a catcher to sit back there and put down a fastball or breaking ball and then have a guy take that kind of a hack. It's embarrassing for a hitter. I wish every fan had a chance to stand in the box once.
Here's a drive off Espinosa's bat, which if it is fair is out of here, and it's a foul ball. Espinosa has a career home run somewhere along the line off Randy Johnson, and that ball was launched.
I'm telling you, he hit it to the second deck out there.
Yeah, that's right, Randy.
That pitch was upstairs. It was a high breaking ball. That was a high breaking ball, and I mean Espinosa really juiced it, but foul.
This one's foul the other way.
If he's upstairs on you, Bob, with the breaking ball as Espinosa hit, I mean, you got a chance to stay on it a little bit longer. But now, if he's down and in, that last pitch upstairs and he fouled it right side, if you stay down and in, it's really hard to check. Really is.
The same pitch in about the same place that Ozzie Smith, another guy not thought of for power, almost hit out in last year's All-Star game.
I remember.
We were doing the game in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
It was just foul, hit about that way.
I remember. Absolutely. Yep.
He couldn't check, and he's gone on the 1-2 pitch. 2 in the inning, 3 in the game for Johnson. No score after 1.5.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Sergeyevna Onatop.
On the top?
On the top.
Bond.
band is back.
I enjoy a spirited ride as much as the next girl. Who's that?
The next girl. And things are starting to heat up.
One rises to meet a challenge.
United Artists brings you...
No more foreplay.
GoldenEye, rated PG-13, starts Friday, November 17th.
You know, if just a few years ago you had told someone the Indians and Mariners would meet in the American League Championship Series, they would have laughed you out of the room. Here's a clip from an old Family Ties that kind of points that out. Roll it, boys.
Any sign of Scott yet, Alex?
No, Jen, I haven't seen him.
Tonight, we're going to see the Indians play a twilight doubleheader against the Seattle Mariners.
Whoa. Clash of the Titans.
You want to come? There are 35,000 extra tickets.
No, just give them to somebody else.
Nobody giving any tickets away now.
Oh, you got that right.
Dave Winfield, not on the active roster, but in uniform for every game, taking batting practice. You never know. If somebody gets hurt, he could be activated for the World Series. Martinez, just 3 for 19 after hitting .293 with 31 homers in the regular season. Dennis Martinez opened some eyes with a couple of fastballs he threw in the first inning. And he's got such a good array of breaking stuff. If you're looking for that, he'll throw that fastball by you. Swung over the breaking ball, 1-1.
He's got that rider and the tailer that'll run away from a guy like Martinez or a left-handed batter, and he changes speeds, Bob, so effectively on all of his pitches. I mean, he'll change on a fastball, he'll change on a breaking ball.
This ball's hit the opposite way. Albert Bell has it lined up, which is not always an assurance of a putout. Not in this postseason. He has 3 errors, 2 of them on drop fly balls, 1 on an errant throw.
You know, the thing with visiting clubs coming into this ballpark, too, is the fact that every once in a while, because of this dome ceiling, you lose a ball. I mean, it's happened many, many, many times. Ball gets up and that stuff. It's not quite as bad as the Metrodome in the Twin Cities, which that one is almost a white or an off-white roof, and there you really have a tendency to lose, but you do here, too.
Now Buhner, who cooled off a little bit in Game 5. He had just been pounding the Indians in the regular season and in this series, but he was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in the 5th game.
You know, and in difference to his strikeouts, and I liked what he said, along with Lou Piniella. Hey, give some credit to the Indians' pitching staff. I mean, you're not going to go up there and get a base hit and hit the ball solidly every time you're up there. I mean, this guy's had a great playoff, and, I mean, he shouldn't be embarrassed by anything. They pitched him very, very tough.
Martinez's 1-1 pitch. Well, Ossenmacher got him with all that breaking stuff when Hargrove went against the percentage and left him in there in the crucial 8th inning situation. That was in Game 5. And prior to that, up against Hershiser, not giving him that straight gas that Eric Plunk gave him, and he destroyed Plunk in the 3rd game with that 11th inning home run.
Well, Ossenmacher stayed down low and inside with the breaking stuff. Plunk threw that high fastball around the outside, and he hit it out in right center.
Breaking ball outside, 2-2. Homers in this series. The record is 4. You won't get one here.
Nice change of pace, excuse me, Bob, that time by Martinez. And again, I mean, if you're up there against this guy, you're going to see it all. As I said before, he changes on breaking stuff. He'll change on fastballs, straight change, breaking ball change, and he had Buhner way out in front on that one. This guy can pitch, no doubt about it. He's tough.
Now Martinez thinking about Blowers, who had a 2-run homer against him in Game 1 of this series. inside. Started to say the record for a league championship series. We're going to have to make all these distinctions because Griffey hit 5 in the new division series and Reggie had 5 in a World Series. But in the LCS, the record, all by National Leaguers, is 4. Bob Robertson of the Pirates in 71, Steve Garvey of the Dodgers in 78, Jeffrey Leonard of the Giants against the Cardinals in 87. Buhner has 3 in this series. Second, no score.
You know, sooner or later in these counts and in these situations, I mean, it's a 0-0 game and it's early. But guys like Blowers and Griffey and those people who have the power, sooner or later you got to sit 3-0 and you got to go. I mean, if Johnson's going to give you a great effort, you got to try for 1 early. It could be a big difference.
Well, they unleashed him, but he couldn't catch up with it.
Well, again, I mean, many times, Bob, you're sitting 3-0 and you have a tendency maybe to swing at a bad pitch because you're trying to jerk one, you're trying to pull one and hit it deep, and you don't get a ball in the zone, I mean, that you can really drive. Flowers has plenty of power with 23 regular season home runs. Martinez just stayed down and away from him.
And now the count is full. Martinez was 3rd this year in earned run average, behind Randy Johnson and Tim Wakefield in the American League. Excellent control. He walked a man, Griffey, pitching carefully to him in the first inning. He averages barely 2 walks per 9 innings of work. The 3-2 to Blowers. Breaking ball is walloped to dead center field. Lofton back near the fence, and Kenny Lofton reaches up to take it. Whew. Martinez with a sigh of relief. No score after 2.
I've had a lot of help to get where I am today. That's why I'm proud to be part of Chevrolet's and Major League Baseball's long-standing charitable record. This year, on behalf of the most valuable players of the League Championship, World Series, and All-Star Game, Chevy will give away $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, as well as helping out the Special Olympics by donating Astrovans. Chevy and Major League Baseball, making sure everyone gets a little help along the way.
Keith told us that he would never, ever get a chance to meet Ken Griffey, and Make-A-Wish has granted that for him.
Hi. How are you? This may be the only wish that he ever has. And it's like, yeah, I've never turned anyone down, and I won't, because you never know how long they have. Anything you want to know? Keith said the only thing I want from you is a bat, and he wanted to toss. Those are the only 2 things that he wanted. It's an experience that you can't forget.
Is this your favorite player right here?
Yes.
You picked a good one.
Well, the Great Northwest was never prime baseball territory until the last couple of months. This franchise was literally hanging by a thread, and their future is still not assured. Folks in the blimp bringing us this picture. The Bud 1 airship, aerial ambassador of the King of Beers. The situation is still uncertain. The Washington State House and Senate have passed a financing package for a $320 million retractable dome natural surface park that would keep the Mariners here. However, locally, the King County legislature isn't 100% sure.
Talking with some of the players, talking with some of the Seattle players, Bob, some feel that it's not going to get done.
Well,
it would be a shame, I said, you know, in talking with a lot of people here. If baseball ever left this area, I mean, this is a great area. It really is. I really love it up here, and indicative of what you said earlier about these fans over the last couple of months showing their support and what baseball means to the city of Seattle and the Northwest. I mean, I played here in the minor leagues when this was a minor league club, and I don't know how we played because it rained an awful lot here, but we did play from time to time.
Is that the old Seattle Rainiers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's what it did mostly every day. Rainiers.
Well, Governor Mike Lowry called an emergency session up in Olympia over the weekend, and they put a package together. But without local approval, it won't fly. And they're still concerned about renovations on this building for the Seahawks. Tony Pena chops one up the middle. And Soho is there to throw him out. If the baseball team gets a new park, which they say is a must, otherwise they'll entertain offers from out-of-town interests, and there's a group in Northern Virginia that's ready to snatch this ball club away, and they'd be happy to have it. If the baseball team moves to a new ballpark, then there has to be about $50 million worth of renovations done on this building for the Seahawks. And that's what the local government is concerned about. Where's the financing for that going to come from? Here's Lofton, who struck out his first time up. Lauer's in close at third. Lofton hit .310 for the year. You don't get in every swing, you don't get that full cut against Randy Johnson.
You really don't. I'm not laughing at Kenny Lofton. I mean, this guy is hanging in there, and I mean, he had a couple of base hits against Johnson in Randy's first outing against the Indians. It's not easy. I mean, I don't care who you are. There's been a lot of great hitters in baseball that have been intimidated by either a left-hander or a right-hander, depending on which way you up there. And there it is again, off the outside. And your backside wants to stay in, but your mind says, get out of here.
The 1-2, a tiny piece of it. It missed, but not by much.
2-2 fastball. A little low. I thought it was a good call by Drew Coble.
And now he is gone. Lofton makes a right turn and heads back, the strikeout victim for the second time. And from a distance, he was jawing at Drew Coble as he departed.
Well, I think Lofton thought the pitch was high. The fastball that Coble called a ball may have been just a little bit low. But that breaking ball, Coble liked it, Lofton didn't. And it's another strikeout for Johnson. I thought it was a fairly decent pitch.
Skell thinking about a bunt and taking a ball. Hershiser telling Kenny Lofton it's happened to the best of them.
Yep.
And even if you're among the best, no disgrace to be punched out twice against Randy Johnson. Vizquel hits this ball hard. Coming on in left field to make the catch is Vince Coleman. Johnson has retired 7 in a row.
Hey, boys, like an autograph? We're going to try squeeze play on your brain. 1,100 players, ERA, save, slugging percentage, home run derby, passing game.
Major League Baseball Super Data Blaster, the electronic stat machine. Thursday on Friends.
I'm looking for Bob.
Wrong number.
I'm hot.
Bob here. And the single guy learns the meaning of charity. Then relax in Kramer's hot tub.
In your living room?
And Caroline's caught in a compromising position.
We record everything.
Everything?
All new NBC Thursday.
As we mentioned, Dennis Martinez likes to pitch inside. He hit 12 batters this year. One of them was his close friend Kirby Puckett in the season's last week. And here's Martinez talking about that episode.
When it happened in the game, I almost kicked myself out of the game because I felt so miserable. I felt so bad to see one of my best friends down, you know, and who knows, you know, he should have been getting hurt more than what happened. And I talked to the wife because I know wives think different than they know sometimes. And I told her, you know, I want to tell you that I'm real sorry about it because I know maybe you might feel different than he feels. And she said, don't worry, Dennis. We know how you are, and we know that, you know, you didn't mean to.
It was a frightening moment. Kirby with a broken jaw, couldn't eat solid food for a week. The report out of Minnesota is that he played in a charity basketball game in the last couple of days and is feeling all right now. Soho steps in and fouls Martinez's first pitch off as we start the bottom of the third.
Well, anytime you see a hitter get hit in the face or in the head, Bob, I know as a catcher and sitting down there and having pitchers work inside on certain hitters, and there are those hitters that you have to move them off. And every once in a while, if one gets away and a guy gets hit, it's a terrible feeling. I mean, it's a sickening feeling, not only with a pitcher, but to a catcher to see somebody hit like that, too.
Off the outside corner, 1-1. Finish up on what we were talking about in the last half inning. There's no question that Northern Virginia is prime territory for a baseball franchise sometime soon. If it doesn't work out for the Mariners here, 1-2. And if they entertained an offer from interest in Northern Virginia, it would be tricky because that's close to the Orioles territory. A National League team would be one thing. Another American League team in the Baltimore Orioles territory might lead to some trouble. It'll all be a moot point if the King County Council can come up with some kind of plan and agree with the state legislature and save the team. The 1-2.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing them move another team to Wisconsin to develop some sort of a rivalry with the Brewers.
Then you could work just home games, Hugh. Wouldn't have to go on the road. Just skip from park to park. Just outside, 3-2.
I tell you, I like watching this guy hit too. Luis Soho. He's up there whacking anything in the area. If it's in the area, he's going to get it or take a hack at it. High, low, inside, outside. If it's close, he's going. He's got a little pop too.
And the payoff pitch to Soho. Hit slowly and foul. Martinez has won 231 regular season games without ever winning more than 16 in a season. This is an oddity. No one in baseball history other than Martinez has ever had as many as 200 victories without winning as many as 17 in a season.
I think that's what happens with a guy like Martinez too. He's overlooked by a lot of people because he hasn't been in that 20-game category throughout his career. But as you said, Bob, you win those 15, 16 games, and they pile up when you're around as long as he's been.
Soho with a drive into left center field. Bell and Lofton in pursuit. It bounces off the fence for extra bases. Lofton juggles it, but Soho is content with a leadoff double.
As I said, he's a hacker and whacker, man. If it's close, he's going. Here's a high sinker. Stayed up on Martinez, didn't sink all that much. And Soho ripped it to the gap in left center.
So now here's Wilson, who's 0 for 14 in the series. You have to look bunt here.
Well, you know, the way he's been going, Bob, he's hit a couple of balls well, but he hasn't hit anything, I mean, that resembles a base hit.
Well, he swings away. Vizquel barehands the ball in his typical fashion. And then Perry digs out the short hop throw. Wilson did not have a successful sacrifice all season. On the first pitch, whether his intent was to go to the right side or not, he hits it in front of the runner. And look at Vizquel. Fans here are so familiar with this. He was the Mariners shortstop before the deal for Felix Fermin sent him to Cleveland, and Perry with a good play at the other end.
Yep. And again, Wilson, as you said, 0 for 14. And the best you can do, I mean, if you're not going to move him with a sacrifice, you have to try to hit a ball to the right side to get him over there. He didn't do it. Good play by Vizquel. As you said, I've seen him in many situations do the same thing, pick and throw in the same motion, but a good play by Perry on the other end.
Coleman grounded out his first time. Strike one to Vince.
the difference it makes when you don't move that runner, Bob, where here now you've got a guy up there, Vince Coleman gives you a little fly ball. You got a chance to grab the lead. Going to take a base hit now to get him in. At least.
Curveball rolled softly toward Perry. He'll take it himself. Now Soho's at third, but with 2 out.
Well, if Wilson had moved the runner and Hargrove decides to play his infield up, that ball hit by Coleman, despite the fact that it was not hit all that sharply, may have gone into right field with the infield playing up.
Cora tapped one in front of the plate his first time up. Tony Pena made a nice play to throw him out.
And at third, it's Alvaro Espinosa playing up tight for Cora, because this guy will bunt in any situation. I mean, this would be a good time for him, because he's done it many, many times. He'll try to push one to score a run with 2 outs.
Up and in for a ball. Soho's double to start the inning was the first Seattle hit off Martinez. Breaking ball for a strike on the outside corner. Martinez very much covets the distinction of being the winningest Latin American pitcher of all time. With 231 wins, he's second behind Juan Marichal, who was unquestionably a greater pitcher, but Marichal won 243, so it's within reach for Martinez. 2-1. And the curve is off the inside corner, and Cora's ahead of him now 3-1 with Griffey on deck.
Tony Pena liked the pitch. It's a good pitch by Dennis Martinez. Just off the inside corner, not by much. And Cora checked 3-1 here. Not a bad pitch at all.
Right at Baerga. It comes up for him, and Martinez is out of the inning. Soho left at third, and we're back after this from your local station.
The first of its kind, the best of its kind. Unsolved Mysteries returns this Friday with the stories that fascinate. On the season premiere, actor Brandon Lee, killed by accident or the ancient curse that took his father.
Like father, like son.
The season premiere of Unsolved Mysteries, Friday on NBC.
The hills are alive. I'll have your forecast at 11. What does that mean?
The 3, 4, and 5 slots, Baerga, Bell, and Murray in the top of the 4th against Johnson. That was Randy Johnson's 47th pitch. He struck out 4 and walked none, so he's piling up the pitch count right now.
But again, it's his final outing unless they get to the World Series, and no holding back here tonight.
1-1.
It's really difficult as a hitter. I mean, you figure the guy misses on an opening pitch, a fastball, and you figure he may come back with another one, so you set yourself to take a good quick swing, and he comes back with that nasty slider down low, and you go after it.
Again.
I'm telling you, he's something. I was talking earlier, Bob, as they get to their feet again here in the Kingdom, I wish every fan had a chance to hit against a guy like a Johnson or a Nolan Ryan or somebody, you know, those extra special guys, so you really know what it's like to stand in there.
Fastball up and in. And, you know, the average fan watching on that center field camera, that one hit 96, by the way, on the radar gun, says, why don't you just lay off? It's out of the strike zone. Well, the whole idea is that it breaks late. It looks like the heater until the last second.
Yeah. Now, Baerga picked up a base hit his first time up. But here, I mean, again, with that devastating slider, he becomes his 5th strikeout victim tonight.
Albert Bell, who this year became the 12th man in history with 50 home runs in a season, and did it in just 144 games. Singled his first time up, and a strike to him. He also became the 8th with 100 or more extra base hits in a season, and the first since Stan Musial did it for the Cardinals in 1948. Here's the kind of company he's keeping. The others are Ruth and Gehrig, Rogers Hornsby, Hank Greenberg, Jimmy Fox, and Chuck Klein, Hall of Fame company. Cut on and missed, 0-2.
Here's what you see as a hitter from Randy Johnson. There's a little sidearm delivery that time on a fastball that will run away from a right-handed batter. It's got that little tail on it, and he threw it right by Bell.
And now Albert rips it past Blowers and down the left field line. Coleman over quickly. Bell around first, running pretty well, and in with a double. Watching Bell go around first, if he's not 100%, if the ankle is bothering him at all, it's an amazing recovery since he had to sit out a game on Saturday night. If he's not all the way back, he's virtually there.
That's not a bad breaking ball by Johnson. A low slider, and he hit it past Mike Blowers into the left field corner. And Bell, who is not the swiftest of runners anyway, I mean, he's not one of the fastest guys in the American League, but into second base, beating the throw from Coleman. Standing double.
Time is called as Murray steps in.
Eddie Murray pointing to the catcher, Wilson. There's that low breaking ball, and Albert Bell, seeing Coleman giving chase in the corner. Yeah, you don't run much better than that. You know, that previous pitch, or what was to have been a pitch, Dan Wilson called time. That was very close to being a balk. I mean, if Randy Johnson starts into his delivery and you look and you see your catcher standing up and you pull back, it's a balk. But Drew Coble had called time. Murray pointed down at Wilson right away. Johnson looked like he was glaring at Eddie Murray, and Murray said, hey, he called time, not me.
Murray grounded to short with 2 men on to end a threat in the first. Bell at second is the first Indian runner since then. The 0-2. And the high fastball fouled to the screen. Top of the 4th, game 6. Only a few at-bats for Murray against Johnson, because they were in opposite leagues most of the time.
Randy Johnson talking to himself on that one. A breaking ball that he let go a little bit too early and didn't really pull through on it. There you see him. Murray chased a high fastball and fouled it back, and then Johnson tried to drop that 0-2 breaking ball down low and inside him. See Dan Wilson going through a series of signs, and that's normally the situation you'll see with the runner at second. Some catchers like to do it with nobody on. They do it all the time. Breaking ball.
Fastball. At 97.
Yep. That's what I'm saying about a hitter, Bob. When you're sitting fastball and you've got a guy throwing in the high 90s as Johnson is, this is where the breaking ball gives you such a problem. Murray, there's no way. I don't think Murray chases an 0-2 fastball that high if he's not just sitting fastball, fastball, fastball.
here's a pop-up into shallow center. Griffey makes Murray out number 2. This 1995 League Championship Series game is brought to you by Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth, and smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Well, Eddie may have been sitting fastball, low slider, and he just weakly popped it into center field.
Well, not a bad pitch. I mean, he got a good hack at it, but he hit under it and popped it up. But you just, again, not to be repetitive and keep talking about this, but you just cannot look for 2 all the time against a guy like Johnson. See him out in front. You can see Murray way out in front on his front foot. The lazy hack at that ball.
Hershiser in between Murray and the reserve outfielder Wayne Kirby. And Ramirez rolls one to Blowers. The long throw, he's gone. A one-out double by Bell goes to waste for Cleveland to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score.
Saturday at 2:30 Eastern, undefeated 5th-ranked USC looks to avenge their 12-year winless streak against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Saturday on NBC.
Welcome back to the Kingdome. I'm Jim Gray. There's no score. Well, I have finally found, after an exhaustive search, your seats, Uke, and indeed they are in the front row. That's right, the front row of the ceiling here at the Kingdome. But Uke, the price is right. They're free. You do simply take your life into your hands, though, getting up here. But if indeed there is a game tomorrow night, Uke, this is right where I'll be looking for you. Gentlemen?
Well, we won't be working, so maybe you will be up there screaming, he missed the tag, he missed the tag.
Just a bit outside. He did not look like that was a smile of joy to me. Did you see him up there?
Yeah.
I see him. There he is.
They had him in the shadows up there. That's the kind of lighting you usually get if you're in the Federal Witness Protection Program.
Wow. So Michael Crawford got started. Phantom of the Opera.
Griffey, and then Edgar and Tino Martinez in the last of the 4th. Junior walked his first time, and a strike from Dennis Martinez.
Griffey thought that ball was a little bit low, and it may have been. It was around the outside corner. You know, sooner or later, you got to see Junior try to lift one here against Martinez. I mean, look for something he can lift and separate from this ballpark and get a run on the board.
Now, he asked for time and does it kind of late.
Well, you know, as a hitter with nobody on, I mean, you can step out of the box anytime you want. I mean, within reason, before that pitcher is into his windup and the umpire deems it, you know, a pitch. You say, hey, you didn't give him enough time. You stepped out way too late. It's going to be a strike, a ball or a strike, whatever the pitch was.
On 0-1, a routine fly into center. Lofton was deep, but he has time to close ground and make the catch.
You see Tony Pena on that last pitch looking up at Griffey to see if Junior is going to take a peek at him. Take a look at Tony Pena. Watch Tony Pena. Now, right prior to the offering, right prior to the pitch, he was looking up at Griffey to see if Junior was taking a peek at him. Watch this. Look at Tony Pena. He's taking a look at Junior to see if Junior is going to watch where he sets up. Went down low and away, and Martinez made a good pitch. Look at Tony. There was a situation. He wanted something off the outside corner. Martinez shook him off. He was just about ready to step out. Martinez shook him off, so he very quickly got back.
And now they're going to check on Dennis Martinez. Pena and half the infield converge on the mound. He stepped off, appearing as if he wanted to gather himself a little bit after that last pitch to Griffey.
Well, I think he's telling Pena he's all right. Baerga and Espinosa are satisfied. Mike Hargrove is a little bit concerned. I'm sure if there was something wrong, Tony Pena just looked into the dugout and put his glove up, said everything's fine.
Martinez is all over the place. Dennis pitches to Edgar with Tino on deck. Down and away. If it's any consolation to Edgar Martinez, and I'm sure it isn't much, you look through the annals of LCS play and World Series play, and you see some of the guys who went 1 for 18, 0 for 20, 1 for 22, and some very impressive names jump out at you. And this ball is hit solidly into center for his second hit of the series. He is 2 for 22.
This is what Dennis Martinez does best. Hit. That pitch down and away, stayed right on it, didn't pull out and try to pull the ball. And this is what Lou Piniella has been looking for from Edgar Martinez. He talked about coming back here. He being Lou Piniella said, don't worry about him. He'll hit when we get back home.
A strike to Tino Martinez. Gil Hodges hitless in the 52 series. Mike Schmidt, 1 hit in the 83 World Series. Even Rod Carew, 1 for 14 in the 1969 LCS. Dave Winfield, 1 for 22 and 81 in the World Series against the Dodgers. Brooks Robinson, 1 hit for the Orioles in the 69 World Series against the Mets. Willie Stargell, hitless in an LCS in the late 70s. Barry Bonds, all his difficulties in postseason play.
How many great players, Bob, have never even been to a World Series? That's the other thing. I mean, you know, you can say what you want about players taking their offers and the collars in the playoffs and the World Series, but how many great players have never gotten that far, have never been to a World Series or even to a League Championship Series, for that matter.
And when your Cardinals finally made it in '64, what do? They take you off the roster.
Well, they didn't take me off the roster.
Where's the justice?
I asked. I had other things to do, Bob, and I explained that to management before we ever got that far. I will not be available for the World Series, so don't put me on and don't come begging because you didn't play me the last week anyway.
You know, when you make those postseason plans and then your team wins the pennant unexpectedly, what are you supposed to do?
That's
Cancel
exactly
the tickets?
what happened.
Cancel the hotel reservations in the Bahamas?
You can't do it. I had rented a truck and a trailer to hit the road, and there's no way, buddy.
0-2 pitch to Tino Martinez, way outside.
Well, they let me sit on the bench anyway. I had a uniform on. They had to get permission. That was the real ugly thing. They had to get permission from the Yankees for me to sit on the bench, and I was on the club. That was really bad. I was a member of the team, and they had to get permission from the Yankees.
The 1-2.
You've heard this from a lot of players, Bob, that, you know, the money factor is no big deal. I mean, every player, and no matter what the sport is, it's the championship ring. I mean, that's the ultimate dream of any athlete. I don't care if it's a college player or not, or a national championship in college to wear a national championship ring, or a World Series, an NBA championship. It's the ultimate dream of every player.
2-2 pitch. Rolled toward Baerga. He's got Edgar for 1. A leaping throw by Vizquel. Not in time, but just the same. Is this Omar Vizquel something to watch?
Right fielder, 19K.
This ball is not hit all that hard by Tino Martinez. Baerga gives him a good feed. Now watch the acrobatics of Omar Vizquel to duck the sliding Edgar Martinez. Look at this. And I'll tell you what, he almost got him. Almost got him. Very close play. Look at that guy. Is he something or what?
He's just a joy to watch.
He really is. I mean, as a pitcher or as a second baseman, anybody on the infield, you got to love watching that guy play as a second baseman. You know you're going to get a good feed from him. If you give him a good feed, you got a chance to turn a DP.
Buhner fanned on a changeup his first time up inside. If Ozzie Smith is at home in St. Louis watching this, he with the 13 Gold Gloves and maybe just one more year now at age 40 in the big leagues, he's got to be smiling. I think the torch has been passed. I think Omar Vizquel is the top defensive shortstop in baseball now.
Well, he's one of the best, if not the best. You may get an argument from some people, but not from too many.
In on Buhner's hands, and a soft pop, which Baerga will take to end the inning. Martinez and Johnson have dueled through 4. No score, game 6. You may have noticed throughout this game that hitters have been coming back and sitting down next to Oral Hershiser, who was himself a pretty good hitting pitcher in his National League days. He's so knowledgeable that he's able to discuss their at-bats with them. Before the game, he told us a nice story about his son, 6-year-old Jordan, whose favorite player is Ken Griffey Jr. And he said the little boy was almost near tears trying to decide how he could reconcile a duel between his dad and his favorite player. But each of Hershiser's starts in this series have worked out perfectly for Jordan. Oral won game 2 here, and Griffey homered. He wins game 5 in Cleveland, and Griffey had an RBI double. So Jordan could be smiling.
Look at Manny Ramirez talking with Hershiser about pitching, about facing Randy Johnson. Hershiser earlier said, hey, look fastball, look fastball. He said, 0-2, he might throw you a breaking ball. You could almost read his lips earlier, just prior to this inning getting underway, Bob. And you know, that's a heck of a compliment to a pitcher when a hitter comes up and asks you, what am I doing wrong? I mean, more often than not, hitters don't like to give any pitchers any kind of a credit as far as anything offensively goes. And I'll tell you, that's a scene that I haven't seen too many times, a pitcher talking to a hitter about how to handle a guy like Randy Johnson.
Bottom of the order in the top of the 5th, Perry, Espinoza, and Pena.
Sometimes when he's throwing as hard as he is tonight, a shovel might be a little bit better advantage.
Line drive. Cora with a leaping grab. Well, his nickname is the Rooster, and he can strut a bit after that one.
Perry with a line drive. Headed towards right until that leaping stab by Cora. That was a slider, a little bit tight on Perry, but he still got enough of it, or he thought he did. And a beautiful play by Joey Cora.
Espinoza rolls one toward the hole. Covering is Johnson, but it's thrown away. And now the ball goes to the backstop, and Espinoza will advance to second base. Tino Martinez made a move on the ball. Cora got to it on what would be the outfield grass on a natural surface field. Johnson got over to cover, and they had Espinoza out by plenty, but the throw went awry.
It should have been an easy play. There you see Martinez. He has no chance. Cora's got plenty of time, and with Johnson on the move, he threw that ball behind Randy, and it's going to be an error charged to Cora after he makes the leaping stab of a line drive. He comes back on a routine ground ball, what should have been anyway, and you can see the disgust in the expression of Joey Cora, and allows Espinoza to wind up at second, Bob.
You can also see those 2 pins that fans have asked about, a rooster and the Puerto Rican national flag. Pena grounded to short his first time. First pitch swings, center field. Ken Griffey's there. We're just in the 5th, and Randy Johnson is around 70 pitches, so the Indians are making him work.
You know, it's not all that bad, though, Bob. I mean, he seems to be cruising. I mean, his breaking ball is good. Control is still good. When he wants to, I think he's taking a little off of a fastball once in a while to get your attention, and all of a sudden, pow! He comes with a 96 or 97 mile an hour job. That's not bad at all. 49 strikes, 17 balls, 66 total. That's good for him.
He struck out 5. He hasn't walked anybody. He's fanned Lofton twice. Lofton, actually, for his career, has hit Johnson about as well as a left-hander could hope to, around 300.
That 81 mile an hour shot you saw from the radar gun, that was a breaking ball. That's just a little bit below an average big league fastball. They consider average in the big leagues around 85 to 86. Here's a guy with an 81 mile an hour breaking ball.
Espinosa at second on an error. The Indians won a very sloppy Game 5. They won at home 3-2 despite 4 errors. The Mariners made 2. He did that to him in his first at-bat.
That was a slider, I think, Bob, that backed up a little on Randy Johnson. You don't see any discomfort from Kenny Lofton on that pitch because he knew it was a breaking ball. It was a breaking ball slider that just backed up a little bit. Didn't get the full twist and full pop on it. But again, this guy hangs in there as good as any left-handed batter I've seen.
In the first inning, it was a fastball right up around the bill of his helmet.
Absolutely.
And he hangs in and slashes one to left for a hit. Could be a play at the plate. They're waving Espinosa home. Coleman's throw is not in time. And to second is Lofton. The Indians have the lead on Johnson and the Mariners. Very much like the RBI hit he got against Johnson in Game 3 last Friday night at Jacobs Field.
I'm telling you, as I said a moment ago, that guy hangs in there as good as any left-handed batter I've seen against Johnson. He hit a high fastball, a 2-1 fastball, and there's the throw by Coleman. And no chance for Espinosa. So Joey Cora, after making the leaping stab of the liner by Perry, commits the error on Espinosa's ball and winds up scoring on the base hit by Lofton. Unearned against Randy Johnson here. 1-0.
Vizquel is 0 for 2. Well, that's not counting the run he drove home in Game 3 of this series in Cleveland. And a strike to Vizquel. In all 3 Division Series games in which the Mariners faced elimination here at the Kingdome against the Yankees, at one point or another, they trailed, including 5-0 in Game 4 and 4-2 in the 8th inning of Game 5.
Well, if one's going to beat this guy, then you deserve to win. Talking about the Indians.
1-1.
Ironic, the couple of starts that he's had against the Indians. Buhner dropping a fly ball in right that led to a run. And here an easy ground ball. Should have been an easy 4-1 putout. With Johnson covering, with Cora making the play, ends up costing him a run.
There he goes, sprinting for third, and it's fouled off.
We've seen Lofton do this a couple of times in the series, and against Randy Johnson. Off and running as Vizquel fouled it back.
Now with a 2-strike count, it becomes louder still at the Kingdome. He's going again, and a liner to left that sends Coleman sprinting back, and Vince Coleman reaches up and makes a stunning catch. Well, Johnson's defense betrayed him at one point, but before that, Cora made a sparkling play, and now Coleman bails him out. The ridiculous and the sublime for the Mariner defense here.
Well, when this ball left the bat of Omar Vizquel, I didn't think Coleman had a chance. It was really hit with Lofton moving, and watch the leaping grab by Coleman as he hits the wall and left. What a play. Here it is again from a different angle. Again, Vizquel really nailed it. And Coleman with a beautiful catch to save a run. And that could be a key play in this game as he gets the high fives, lows, and everything else that go with it. Beautiful play by Coleman. And even Randy Johnson.
Coleman, one of only 4 Mariners on the active roster for this series who have any kind of postseason experience prior to 1995. He and Joey Cora, who was on the White Sox division winners in the old AL West in '93, and a couple of pitchers, Charlton, who went to the World Series in 1990 with his manager Lou Piniella when they were both in Cincinnati, and Tim Belcher, who was with the Dodgers in the 1988 LCS against the Mets and World Series against the A's. Holman, postseason play in '85 and '87 with the Cardinals. Flowers against Martinez, and a called strike one from Drew Coble. Bottom of the 5th. The Indians breaking through with an unearned run in the top half. They've got 4 hits off Johnson. Mariners with 2 against Martinez.
Everybody talks about Randy Johnson and how hard he throws and how great is his breaking ball. I'll tell you, when you look at what Martinez has done here tonight, not the big strikeout pitcher that you're going to see from a guy like Randy Johnson, but this guy can pitch.
Fastball on the outside corner, 1-2.
I'm telling you, he can work the corners. Off-speed stuff, change of speeds. Johnson, when he started the top half of this inning, had thrown 66. There's Martinez through 4+.
Another fastball, and he didn't miss the inside edge by much.
That one didn't look too bad either. A little sinking fastball that time.
Trying to avoid a 7th game. Hoping to head for Atlanta as soon as possible. Game 1 of the World Series there on Saturday. If Cleveland wins tonight. Huge if. The first game matchup in the World Series. What a beauty. Oral Hershiser and Greg Maddux. Things like that and the excitement of some of these games remind you why, in spite of everything, and they couldn't have done more to foul it up if they tried, in spite of everything, you still love the game. Liner by Flowers, base hit.
Well, Seattle has had runners against Martinez in the last 3 innings. They missed a golden opportunity back in the 3rd when Luis Sojo ripped a double. Couldn't score him then. 1-out single by Martinez in the 4th. They stranded 1 then, and here's Flowers aboard now. Nobody out.
Interesting choice now for Piniella. Sojo doubled to left center his first time up. He hit .325 from mid-August on as he claimed the starting shortstop job here. Your on-deck hitter Wilson is 0 for 15. You're down by a run. Do you bunt?
I wouldn't be surprised to see Piniella in situations like this work a little hit and run. I mean, you can run against Pena. Clubs have run against him all year.
Swinging away and hitting a double play ball to Vizquel. He barehands it, gets it to Baerga, and they turn it with Perry staying on the bag. I don't think I've ever seen anyone barehand the ball as a matter of routine. He does it sometimes by preference rather than by necessity.
Well, this was one of the times that I don't think he had to do it. But he did. I mean, he handles that ball like nothing. They had plenty of time to turn it the conventional way. Sojo is not a very quick runner. But Vizquel elects to go barehanded again. And he talked about that in Cleveland, Bob, the fact that he has no qualms about doing it at any time. I'll guarantee you there are a lot of balls that are hit that he wouldn't want to barehand, but those that are playable, that are catchable barehanded, he does.
If Wilson doesn't get a hit this time, unless he walks, obviously, if they retire him, he goes to 0 for 16 in the series, tying the record for futility in League Championship Series play. Gene Alley of the Pirates and Aurelio Rodriguez of the Tigers each went 0 for 16 in 1972.
Well, it's either him or Widger, and Piniella has deemed this guy as #1 catcher. And no matter what, I think you've got to stay with him. And despite the fact that he is not giving you much with a bat, he's still doing a good job behind the plate.
The 2-1 pitch. Fastball rolled to the left side. It'll be Vizquel. And he cuts him down. We've gone through 5. The Indians lead it 1-0. Doubleheader action again on NBC as we turn our attentions this Sunday to the NFL pregame show at 12:30 Eastern. 3 games early, 3 games late. As always, you'll be checking your local listings. Look at Orel Hershiser and the others congratulating Vizquel after that last half inning. Eddie Murray comes over, and Hershiser appeared at one point to be saying, "Let me see this glove. You apparently don't need it. You know, you barehand everything.
Hide it." He does everything so matter-of-factly and so routinely. I mean, it's no big deal for Vizquel.
Baerga against Johnson as we move to the 6th.
A lot of shortstops wouldn't want to take a chance, Bob, unless it's really necessary. And on that particular play, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, he could have turned it very conventionally. Each his own, I guess. Whatever's best for you, whatever works for you. And that works for Vizquel.
Baerga whacks one that is by the diving Soho for a leadoff hit. He's now 2 for 3.
Now Baerga, a .317 lifetime hitter into tonight's game against Randy Johnson. Picks up his second base hit back in the 4th. Johnson struck him out on low inside breaking stuff, and there's Luis Soho just missing that line drive off the bat of Baerga. Johnson may be getting into that area. We're in the 6th, where he's starting to run on empty a little bit.
Bell has singled and doubled. Baerga removing that shin guard. That's the reason for the delay. Albert went the opposite way and poked one into right on the ground for his single in the 1st. Then in the 4th, doubled between Blowers and the bag down the left field line. In the dirt, Wilson blocks it. Baerga started, now tries to get back, and he's out of there. Considering where he was, he would have had about as good a chance to continue to second as to retreat to first.
I don't know why he came back, Bob. This is a heck of a play by Wilson. That's a tough breaking ball. Knocks it down, flips the mask. He took a peek at Baerga. And here's a throw to Martinez in the dirt. Nice play by Tino, and they get him coming back. Good play by Wilson. Nice play.
And they take a man off the pads with Bell at the plate. This is where, as you're coming back and you see what's happening, your heart sinks. Not only am I out, but I'm going to be embarrassed here.
A little short hop throw from Wilson, but a nice play by Martinez, and Baerga knew it.
Now Johnson, who has 5 strikeouts, is ahead of Bell, 1-2.
Well, as you said, Bob, and when we took a look at the replay, and even when the play was happening, Baerga knew he should have gone to second. It's a longer throw for the catcher. You've got your momentum going.
High and outside. For the year, Johnson averaged 12.3 strikeouts for every 9 innings of work. It's the highest single-season strikeout-to-innings ratio in the history of baseball. And his career ratio of better than 10 is also a lifetime best.
Well, you can say a lot of things about this guy, but you can't question his heart. Randy Johnson.
Called strike 3, and Bell knew it. Without the slightest hesitation or word of argument, he strides away.
Now, if he's starting to run on empty, there's still a little octane in there. Good fastball, catches Bell looking. Big pitch. Big play again by Wilson. Wow. An unearned run in this game. 1-0 Indians. That's been it.
And he Murray. First pitch swinging. A chance for Cora. That'll do it. To the bottom of the 6th. Indians clinging to the slimmest of margins.
Saturday at noon Eastern, Clyde Drexler and the two-time defending world champion Rockets blast off to London to face Europe's best. The McDonald's Championship, Saturday on NBC.
A striking shot from Budweiser's aerial ambassadors, the Bud 1 airship. They're providing the aerial shots of the Seattle skyline. Did you walk around here a bit yesterday on the off day, you?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I went to the salmon locks to watch the salmon return to their breeding grounds, and had a great day.
I didn't know you were such a seafaring
man.
Oh,
yeah. Heck, some that couldn't make the jump, I had a little prod and just helped them up over the, over the jump.
The thing I noticed, coffee shops everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
The little wagons on the street, as well as the bigger established places. I think they got one down in the Mariner bullpen. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere here. Well, it's a great shipping city, Bob, and a lot of coffee comes in here by boats. I don't know if you knew that or not. That's why there's so many coffee shops here. It's very simple.
You know, you go with that triple cafe latte. It puts a little extra hop on the fastball, so it's good to have the canister over there in the bullpen.
Got to get out of your room once in a while. Follow me around during the day. Find some interesting things and people.
Somebody's got to stay back in case you have to make bail. I'm the safety net.
Yeah. Please let me call him.
Trying to jumpstart their ball club. The crowd got especially loud leading into the bottom of the 6th. Coleman, Cora, and Griffey, the 1, 2, and 3 hitters. Strike one to Vince to quiet them just a bit. That 056 is the reason why Coleman took a seat for Game 5 against Hershiser at Jacobs Field. Back in tonight. Hitless, but made a great catch in left field an inning ago. Although he hasn't been on all that often, and now he's behind 0-2, he's managed to steal 3 bases without being caught in the series. They give him huge portions of both lines. Outfield bunch towards center. Espinosa way off the line at third. Outside 1 and 2.
If there's any gap for Coleman, it's in right center between Lofton and Ramirez. There you see it. And Ramirez well off the line and right.
Norm Charlton, just in case, hasn't begun throwing yet, but getting loose down there. Over Martinez. Baerga toward the middle. Does he have a play on Coleman? No. Baerga did all he could on the chopper over the mound. Just about anybody else. The jumping throw gets him, but not Coleman.
Oh, he was an out. Anybody else, you're right, Bob. Somebody coming out of the right-hand side of the box is out. But Coleman clearly beat it. Kenny Kaiser, the first base umpire, right on it. Heck of a play by Baerga. Heck of a play. But late. AstroTurf base hit.
Multiple options now. The steal, the sacrifice, the hit and run. Something tossed on the field, and Vizquel discards it.
As I said earlier, I'm looking maybe for Piniella to try a hit and run play. He's had opportunities to move a runner with a sacrifice or a hit and run back in the 5th after Blowers let it off with a base hit. Soho hitting away with nobody moving, bounces into a 6-4 3-double play. But I mean, you know, it's been a little stale. They've had a few base hits, but to try and get something moving, and here's a guy who can handle the bat in Joey Cora. Maybe to send a Coleman who can run. We all know that.
Cora's 0 for 2. Griffey next. And then Edgar and Tino Martinez if the inning is sustained. Coleman bluffs the go. They pitch out. He stays.
Well, Tony Pena thinking along the same lines. And again, a pitch out will give your ball club an idea what Cora is trying to do, or Pinella for that matter. We saw Mike Hargrove. Pitch out, he said. That was a pitch out.
Six times the National League stolen base leader at the beginning of his career in St. Louis. 3 times better than 100 steals. Martinez steps off.
Third baseman Alvaro Espinosa playing a very close at third for Cora. He's looking for the bunt. Coleman made a blunt move towards second on that first offering.
And looks him back again.
Pena is just moving off the outside corner, Bob, or sitting right on the outside, and wants Martinez there with a fastball.
This time he has to dive back.
Another look at that one. He had Coleman leaning the other way that time. He was leaning towards second. There you see it. You see those feet moving towards second, and a good throw by Martinez, and he almost picked him off. Sammy Mejia is telling Coleman, hey, get you a good lead, but by no means get picked off. See if they move him here.
A 1-0 pitch when he finally lets it go. He is going. The pitch is taken. The throw from Pena. Close, but not in time. Coleman steals it. Pena griping about the call. An excellent throw, but not quite good enough. And Coleman, who went in hard, is shaken up.
He went in head first and may have injured his shoulder. A heck of a throw by Pena. Right on the bag. And a very close play at second. Darrell Cousins right on it. There's the jump by Coleman. It was a fastball and a perfect throw by Tony Pena. And he was there. Very close play. Pitch up and out over the strike zone. And Pena's throw perfect. Very close play at second. Very close. Now you've got to move him. You've got to pull a ball for sure or bunt him over.
The 2-0 pitch. He bunts, and it's a good one. They let it roll foul. Had it stayed fair, it wouldn't have just been a sacrifice. It could have been a hit.
Here's that throw and tag. Very close play at second, and Coleman coming down very hard. Perfect throw by Pena. He's there, and just beat the throw. Just beat the throw. Tony Pena thought he had him. No way, Tony. Oh, you think he isn't into this game?
The heart he brings to the game.
Boy, I'm telling you, Bob.
It's something to see.
Always. Always.
In the air, Perry makes the catch. And Cora walks off, slamming his bat down in disgust. Got to tell you now, this 1995 League Championship Series game is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. The employee owners of Avis. We're into the future, into it now, trying harder than ever. And the makers of Denorex.
Another situation where Seattle has a chance to move a runner. And Joey Corum, one of the most reliable guys that you'd want up there in that situation to advance a runner, bunt him over, move him over, pops it up.
Griffey walked and flied out. There have been 2 close plays in this inning, both involving Coleman. Safe at first on an infield hit, safe at second on the steal, and Kaiser at first, Darrell Cousins at second. Got each of the tough calls right. Good pitch, strike 1.
A lot of guys are afraid to come in tight on Griffey. But Martinez has gone away on him twice tonight. Down low and away. Walked him and popped him up.
Wow, they may have him. That was close. You know what happened? Vizquel snuck back in, and Coleman was napping just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Dennis Martinez was taking a rather nonchalant walk around. This is a play. This was put on. And as soon as Martinez saw him cut in behind Coleman, he fired back there, and you're right, they almost got him. This is not by accident.
With Martinez turning the opposite way, instead of whirling toward first and back, the turn in the opposite direction to catch him off guard.
A lot of pitchers like that move, Bob. They'll just step off and then throw. Instead of spinning, just step off and throw back toward the bag. Some guys can't do it. Lott can. Big lead by Coleman at second. Vizquel trying to keep him close.
Now they work to Junior, and here's a high drive to center. Lofton back to the edge of the track. Has it. Tagging at second is Coleman. On to third with 2 down.
Well, that would have been a run. Had Cora been able to sacrifice, had they been able to move Coleman to third, this game would have been tied. Griffey just missed again here. Down and away, sinking fastball from Martinez, and he flies to center.
He knows it. He knows he didn't get quite enough of it. He doesn't have that look that he usually has when he's touched one off.
Yep. Kenny Lofton. Again, plenty of room. Trying to keep Griffey from pulling anything, and he's done it twice now with lazy flies to center.
Cora thinking about the error he made that led to the unearned run and his inability to advance the runner on the sacrifice attempt. He's had a good series, but the last couple of innings haven't pleased him. Martinez is hit by the pitch. It's not an infrequent occurrence with Dennis Martinez on the hill. The fans are booing, but obviously unintentional in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any way that Martinez is trying to drill this guy with Tino Martinez, a left-handed batter, coming up next. But here it is one more time. Got him right in the ribcage. Sinking fastball from Dennis Martinez. And there they are. Career leaders. I don't know if you want to lead in that particular category, but Dennis Martinez is the leader.
And true to form,
those guys.
True to form this year, Clemens hit 14, and Martinez bruised another 12 in the regular season. They were the top 2 in the American League. Tino Martinez, line to left and grounded out. 2 on, 2 out, and ball 1. Here is a sorry stat from the Mariners' perspective. They're 3 for 38 with men in scoring position in this series. 3 for 38. In there, 1-1. Coleman at third. Edgar Martinez at first.
I mean, if you're up there hitting and you're trying to take something from Martinez, in that area. He's twice gone away on Tino Martinez. I mean, unless you absolutely make up your mind that he's going to keep staying away on you and you've got to go the other way, it's just awfully tough to hit this guy. See if Pena moves inside this time. Saw Tony do that a couple of days ago, Bob, in Cleveland in the series there when he went inside, and then very quickly, as Martinez was set to deliver, moved off of the outside corner. And that's about what he was going to do on Tino Martinez.
Coleman way down the line at third, and then when Espinosa moves over, Vince unnecessarily dives back in, but Dennis hadn't delivered the throw.
Boy, what a game. A beauty.
October baseball.
Boy, I'm telling you.
The whole feel of it is something different.
It really is. Great.
The 1-1 pitch. Espinosa going back. There's a lot of foul territory in this park, but it's just in the seats. In fact, in the seats they add for postseason play, potentially playable in a regular season game.
He almost caught this ball, Bob. He gave it a heck of a try. He had a shot. That ball did not go in the seats.
Actually didn't make it.
Yep. It was a heck of a tough play for Espinosa. He knew he was close to that lower box seat area.
That's where you could get an interference call, although not on that play because you can't assume the catch. But when the fan reaches out, it can be interference.
Right.
If you're reaching into the stands, then it's a jump ball. There goes the runner. Pena's going to bluff the throw through. And Edgar Martinez moves into scoring position, stealing the base standing up.
I don't know if Tony Pena ever took that ball out of his glove. Get another look at it if we can. I didn't know if he went in and took it out or not. Just bluffed the throw with no ball. I've seen it happen, Bob, where a catcher will do that, and because you throw so hard and try to hold on, the ball slips out of your hand. I don't even know if Pena took the ball out. We're going to look at it. No way. See that?
He's got a bag of tricks, this Tony Pena.
Well, I mean, catchers do that. It happens. I mean, you've seen a guy take a ball and throw it, bluff a throw, and you throw it so hard it slips out of your hand. You don't want to let it go. And that's what happens many times. Not many times, sometimes in that situation.
Tino Martinez. 3 for 21 in the series, in a spot where a single could give his team the lead in the bottom of the 6th. But not this time. His woes continue. Martinez strands 2. Dennis Martinez, that is. Still 1-0. Back after this from your local station.
It's an outrageous waste of tax dollars. Millions spent on a system that's made 15,000 mistakes by the agency handling toxic waste. The fleecing of America. NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Kingdome. I'm Jim Gray. I'm joined by the Braves chief scout, Bill LaJoie, the former GM of the Tigers. Bill, tell me, who would the Braves prefer to play? Would they prefer to play the Indians or the Mariners?
It doesn't matter. We match up well with both clubs, and the right-handed pitching of Cleveland and our left-handed power is a good match. So it should be exciting whatever team we play.
With the Indians ahead here, you had said maybe you thought it might be easier for your team to play the Indians just because of that matchup.
Well, it might make for a better listen, Randy Johnson would pitch 2 games if we played him, and he's tough on our lefties, so that's the reason I'm saying that.
Bill, what about the week off? Is that going to hurt the Braves? Is that too much time off?
It'd be fine for our pitchers, but the hitters may bother them a little bit, but I think we'll be fine. We'll work it out and everything.
Bill, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
All right, Bob, one of 4 scouts here tonight for the Braves.
Jim, thanks very much. It is the conventional wisdom that left-handers fare better against Atlanta. That's why the Reds loaded up on the lefties. But it availed them nothing as they were swept. Their offense went south on them. Speaking of Cincinnati, and they got swept in the LCS.
Well, that last foul ball got home plate umpire Drew Coble someplace other than the ALCS. Watch this foul tip off the bat of Ramirez.
Yes.
almost like a pinball machine. Off the shin guard, off the thigh, and then in the groin. No matter how hard you try to hide yourself back there, from time to time, they find you.
That is a wicked combination as caroms go. 0-2 to Ramirez. Fastball high and away. Top of the 7th. 1-0 Cleveland. They have 5 hits off Johnson. The Mariners have managed 4 hits against Dennis Martinez and had their best chance in the bottom half of the 6th and couldn't score. Foul down the left field line, 1-2 still.
I was going to say, Bob, remember back earlier when Oral Hershiser was talking to Manny Ramirez about Johnson and how he was working to Ramirez. He said, with 2 strikes on you, watch for the breaking ball. That's what he got right there and hit it foul.
What a presence he is on a ball club, Oral Hershiser. So into the game in every respect and so respected by his teammates. That'll make the seats also. John Hart, the GM, has done an excellent job, not only of putting together a talented team that went 144, but the blend is really good. The wise old heads that are respected, the Eddie Murrays, the Dave Winfields, the Oral Hershisers, Dennis Martinez. There's Winnie.
Johnson, not sure, not so much maybe the pitch call by Wilson, but location.
Down and in on Ramirez. He went around though and he's gone. The slider gets him. That's strikeout number 7 for Johnson.
Well, a ball and 2 strikes. Look at this nasty breaking ball. Can't check his swing. And Ramirez, a strikeout. Number 7. Watch this pitch. Skipping, and a good play again by Wilson to knock it down for the strikeout.
Herbert Perry struck out in the 2nd, robbed of a hit on a leaping grab at second base by Joey Cora in the 5th. Now 0 for 6 in the series. Espinosa next. 1-1.
Oh, you wonder how much longer this guy can go, Bob. And in talking with Lou Pinelli, he said a lot of the stuff said about Randy Johnson and him being tired is media. He's not all that bad. He's ready to pitch, and he certainly showed it here tonight.
Hit hard to short. Soho is going to throw him out. And that brings us to tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust baseball fact. In 1966, Braves pitcher Tony Cloninger hit 2 grand slams in 1 game. Now, which 2 former Oriole teammates are the only pitchers to hit grand slams in postseason play? I remember one of them.
Cloninger hit those 2 against the Giants. Candlestick.
Ball 1 to Espinosa. I remember one of those Oriole grand slams in the World Series. I think it was in 1970, Baltimore and Cincinnati. Can't think of the other. Pitch. Tino Martinez heading over there, but this one's in the seats. Randy Johnson won the 1-game division playoff here against the Angels. Won game 3 with his team down 2-0 to the Yanks in the division series. Won the 5th and deciding game out of the bullpen in game 5. Griffey in center. Retires Espinoza. 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 7th. Stretch time at the thunderous Kingdome. We'll be back.
Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, complete coverage of an NFL on NBC doubleheader. First, the Bears host the Oilers, or the Dolphins face the Jets. Then it's a Wild West showdown when Bono and the Chiefs battle Elway and the Broncos, or the red-hot Colts collide with the Raiders. The NFL on NBC, made in America, played in America, Sunday.
We won't keep you in suspense very long. Here's tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust answer. Which two former Oriole teammates are the only pitchers to hit grand slams in postseason play? Mike Cuellar in the 1970 ALCS against the Twins. And then a week later, Dave McNally. That's the one I knew. I remember that from the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds. You had the other half.
I had Cuellar. He was a former teammate at St. Louis, Bob. I knew it was Cuellar. I didn't know it was McNally.
Combined, we had it. As we move to the 7th, all of the Mariners' big hitters will have at least one more turn at bat. This is one of them, Jay Buhner. What the Mariners are trying to do is difficult, but in recent history, not all that uncommon. 7 times since 1982. In the LCS or the World Series, a team has come home for the 6th and 7th games, trailing 3 games to 2, and has won it 7 times. Now, it hasn't happened every time in that span, but 7 of the occasions when that situation applied, down 3-2, and the team with the 6th and 7th games at home was trailing 7 times since 1982 out of 11. The team has been able to come back and win the 6th and 7th at home. Here's Buhner. Most recently, the Twins in the 87 World Series against the Cardinals and the 91 World Series against the Braves. Just off the outside corner with the fastball, 1-1.
You know, he's pitched so well to Buhner tonight, too, with stuff off the outside corner, and then it seems as though when Buhner starts looking that way, he comes inside by with a good sinker right off his fist. Popped him up his last time up.
In the air to left, but it was in on his fist. And Bell is there. Did not get the better part of the bat on that one.
Now he's up there with an open stance, and normally if you've got that kind of a stance, as Buhner does, almost facing directly at the pitcher, anything inside you can really get and turn on. But if you're looking away, as Martinez came to Buhner in his previous ABs, again he jammed him, and Buhner knew it. Jammed him, got inside with a fastball, and he popped him up. Watch this. Didn't get the fat of the bat on it. Little fly ball to Bell.
So Buhner's 0 for 3. Flowers has had 2 good turns at bat against Martinez. Flied to very deep center, hitting Lofton to the fence to end the 2nd. Single to center to open the 5th. Regardless of the outcome of this game, Hargrove's pitching strategy has turned out very well. He went to Hershiser on 3 days rest for Game 5. And Hershiser was the winner and pulled him after only 6 innings, just in case he had to use him on 2 days rest if there's a 7th game here tomorrow. He gave Martinez the full week's worth of rest, and Martinez leads Randy Johnson, the American League's best, 1-0 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Martinez needed the extra rest at age 40 and with a variety of aches and pains, and not expected to respond so well in the cold, damp weather in Cleveland. In fact, if the Indians do make the World Series, I would expect that Martinez would pitch Game 2 in Atlanta and then Game 6 in Atlanta, rather than expose him to what figures to be chilly weather in the middle 3 in Cleveland. That's if they make it. 2-1 pitch to Blowers.
He has stayed basically the same all night long. And Tony Peña, the veteran who has handled Martinez for the most part this year and going back to last season, really knows how to work this guy, Bob. He really does. Inside, outside, jamming fastballs, little breaking stuff. Every once in a while, a change of pace. Not only 4 hits.
The 2-2. Squibbed foul.
You hear guys talk so many times about down and in and low and away, up and in, low and away. Textbook and picture pitching. Here it is from Dennis Martinez. He jammed Blowers on the previous offering, an inside fastball, then comes down low and away with a breaker. Look at the eyes of Tony Peña. Keeping an eye on Blowers.
Out in front of the plate, Martinez will play this one over to Perry for the second out.
First on Luis Soho.
Luis Soho to the plate. He's doubled and hit into a big double play. After Blowers singled to open the 5th on the first pitch, Soho hit into a 6-4-3 double play to short-circuit the inning. The Mariners are down to 7 outs now. If you begin to think about pinch hitting possibilities, as long as a right-hander is out there, they have only 2 choices if they want to play percentages. 2 switch hitters, Doug Strange and Alex Diaz, are on the bench. Everybody else is a right-handed batter among Lou Piniella's reserves. The expression and the bubble blowing belying the turmoil that Lou Piniella must feel inside.
Well, they've had a couple of opportunities tonight, but again, as Piniella said in the series in Cleveland, he said, hey, you got to give the Indians staff some credit. These guys have pitched some good games. I mean, they've made pitches when they've had to. And here tonight against Johnson, Martinez has stayed right with him.
Call 0-2 to Soho.
Well, if you're a hitter tonight, and Drew Coble working behind the plate, that's where he's been all night long, and especially with Martinez, who's been out there all evening. I mean, it's close. And if Coble's going to give you that pitch, or any umpire back there, then you got to keep staying there.
On 0-2, called him out, punches him out of there. Just the 3rd strikeout for Martinez. Through 7. He's in front, 1-0.
Strike. That's not a strike.
He threw him out.
What? Well, there's the strikeout to Luis Soho. An ensuing argument with the home plate umpire, Drew Coble, to my surprise, has gotten Soho ejected from this game. He had words with Coble, and Coble kept telling him that the pitch was a strike. And now you just see Coble right there. He said, he just told Soho, you're gone. He told Soho, you're gone.
Well, we don't know exactly what was said. Soho's wrong considering the situation to even risk it. But Coble might have given him a little bit more leeway, also considering the situation.
Yep, I think so. A lot on the line here, and again, it's a 1-0 game, a controversial call, and Drew Coble, a very good umpire, not to take anything away from him, but a situation that that maybe cooler heads should have prevailed. They tried to get Soho away, from Drew Coble. But too late. They did, but too late. And I think the fans here at the Kingdome, Bob, just now realizing that Luis Sojo has been ejected from the game, and that is Felix Fermin.
Now Martinez apparently in some discomfort on the bench. Both bullpens were quiet until just a moment ago. No one was throwing through the bottom of the 7th. Charlton is up now in the Seattle bullpen. And someone has just popped up for the Indians as Tony Pena whacks the first pitch into right center field here to start the 8th. And Tony Pena, who's been very useful in this series, is in at second with a leadoff double.
Tony Pena on a high outside fastball from Randy Johnson with a bullet to right center. Leadoff double. And the top of the order coming now for Cleveland in Kenny Lofton.
A few years ago, you would have thought Tony Pena was done. Hit about 180 for the Red Sox. Looked like his long and rather distinguished career was over. Pirates, Cardinals, 87 World Series with the Cardinals, Red Sox for a while. Now at age 38, he's revitalized. Game-winning homer against his old Red Sox mates, Game 1 of the Division Series in the 11th. He started 2 games here in this series. This is how the run came home in the 5th inning. The Espinosa grounded to the right side and Cora throwing it away, and then Lofton following with the base hit. Coleman with his throw to the plate, not in time to get Espinosa. The unearned run, that's the only run in the game as the Indians bat here in the 8th. Now Tony Pena comes out for a pinch runner. We'll see Sandy Alomar Jr. behind the plate, and here's Ruben Amaro Jr., son of the former Phillies shortstop, the pinch runner at second base. Lofton pokes at it, trying to bunt and misses. Julian Tavares, the right-hander, is in the Indian bullpen. Charlton throwing on the other side for the Mariners. Nobody out, top of the 8th. Amaro at second. 1-0 Cleveland. He gets this bunt down. It's a hard one, though, and Johnson disdains the play at third base and then can't get him at first. Runners at the corners with nobody out.
What a beautiful bunt by Lofton. And as soon as he laid that ball down, you knew Johnson was going to have problems. The runner, Amaro, had a great jump off of second. He went to third. Randy had no play there, and by the time he turned and looked at first, he had no chance for Lofton either with Tino Martinez backpedaling. Look at Lofton fly, and no chance. 2 on now. I'll tell you, Lofton's had a heck of a series, Bob, and twice against Randy Johnson, he has come up with big base hits. Not only in this game tonight, in the previous outing for Randy, it was Lofton with a couple of hits.
For just a fraction of a second, Johnson looked to third as Amaro headed there from second. If he had not done that, and if he had immediately wheeled and thrown to first, it would have been close, but maybe he gets Lofton.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think he was in a position to make any kind of a play at third the way he was going after the ball.
Now Vizquel. 0 for 3, but he's hit the ball hard twice. Robbed of a hit his last time by Coleman. Lofton goes, no play. Lofton steals second, standing up.
I don't know if they'll give him a steal of second on that or not, because I don't think the Mariners were all that worried about Kenny Lofton. Defensive indifference, or who cares?
No wiggle room at all for Seattle. Infield in, second and third. 2-0 to Vizquel. Baerga on deck, and then Bell. It gets away. Heading home is Amaro. To third is Lofton. They have no play. And now here comes Lofton all the way. And he scores. He never stopped. Kenny Lofton made this inning. Beating out a bunt, which for almost anyone else would have simply been a sacrifice. Stealing second, and then racing all the way in from second as the ball got away from Wilson on either a wild pitch or pass ball. And now a strike to Vizquel.
That was a ball that Wilson probably should have handled. I think it would be called a pass ball, Bob. I'm not, is it?
It is.
A pass ball?
It is.
And the hustling Kenny Lofton all the way from second. And Wilson thinking that it was only going to be the lead runner in Amaro was taken by surprise. Watch Lofton. He's running right behind Amaro. Look at Randy Johnson.
He doesn't know
what's going on. And Lofton scores without a play.
And now Vizquel with a bullet to left, but Coleman again makes the play. Well, the Indians are only an inning away from their closer, Jose Mesa. They'll use him in the ninth. It looks very bleak for Seattle.
Boy, what a play by Lofton. I'm telling you. You won't see that happen too many times, fans. Now watch Wilson. Watch Wilson. He knows Amaro's in. Look at him. Taking that play very nonchalantly, turns around. He sees Lofton busting for home. Johnson doesn't know he's coming. He doesn't know what's going on. Takes the throw, and Lofton's already there. What a play.
Well, the Mariners have had a few outstanding plays in the field tonight, but they also had Cora's throwing error. And then a mental lapse as Baerga drills one foul. First the pass ball, and then a mental lapse by Wilson, which Lofton takes advantage of.
Well, Dan Wilson, fine catcher, and a tough series with a bat. This kid's a good catcher. He really is. Ball got away, a pass ball, and then the speed of Kenny Lofton. One of the few changeups you'll see Randy Johnson throw tonight. Pull back on that fastball, took a little something off.
The last couple of hitters pulled everything. He may be losing something at this point. He's gone over 100 pitches.
I don't question anything about this guy.
Center field, Griffey has to go back, has to go way back, and this one is gone. The Indians may be putting the finishing touches on now. The finishing touches on their first pennant since 1954. Pinella's going to come get Randy Johnson. And Johnson is going to get the roar of approval he deserves, not just for his work tonight, but for the remarkable regular and postseason he's delivered for the fans here in Seattle.
Well, nothing to be ashamed of for Randy Johnson for sure. And I know he's not. Not at all. For sure, Randy. It's not over yet. Seattle still with a couple of shots. But again, Bob, we've seen this Indian ball club on a number of occasions. They're a well put together unit. They really are. With pitching and hitting and power. And again, this Seattle ball club has nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing at all. And I'm an admirer of Randy Johnson, I'll tell you, for what he's done here throughout the season and in postseason play. When they've had their backs up against the wall a number of times to reach back for a little extra. Gut time. And he did.
Coming into tonight's game, Seattle was 30-3 in Randy Johnson's starts, and he himself had not dropped a decision, regular season or postseason, since August 1st.
There's Baerga, who's had 3 hits tonight. Came into tonight's game 317 lifetime against Randy Johnson. And he got all of this one in the right center.
Look at Lofton whooping it up behind him. I think Lofton isn't pumped with what he did this inning.
Ken Griffey. Get up, ball. Get up, ball. That's Lofton.
Baerga, a pair of singles, and the home run that makes it 4-0 tonight. Charlton is in. Bell takes one in the dirt for Johnson. 7 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned. He didn't walk anybody. He struck out 7. Charlton, who turned in a brilliant 3 innings in Game 3 Friday in Cleveland, well rested since then.
Al Lupinella's done a lot of great work here this year. He really has. Coaching staff, Lelia, Bobby Cuellar, Sammy Mejias.
Cut on and missed 1 and 2. Dan Wilson, the catcher and number 9 hitter, due to lead off in the bottom of the 8th. Probably a pinch hitter for him. Then back up top for Coleman and Cora. Griffey, Martinez, Edgar, and then Tino Martinez. At least one more crack at it each, if not in the 8th, then in the 9th. High 2-2. Pena hit the first pitch of the inning into right center for a double. Lofton, trying to sacrifice at least, beat the bunt out to the left side of the mound to put runners at first and third. He stole second without a play. Bell hits this one out behind second base. Cora goes back, and he makes the catch for the second out. With runners at second and third, and Vizquel at the plate, Wilson was guilty of a pass ball, on which the pinch runner for Pena, Ruben Amaro, scored. And then to compound the error, Wilson went to the edge of the dugout to pick the ball up, thought the play was over. Lofton never stopped. He scored all the way from second. After Vizquel lined out hard to left, Baerga homered to center. 3 in the inning, 4-0 for the game.
Nobody feels worse in this ballpark probably than Joey Cora, whose error back in the 5th inning led to the first run, and Dan Wilson with that little miscue that allowed the second run, Lofton to score. Tough, long season, Bob, and when it boils down to 1 game or 1 inning or 1 pitch, it's tough. This kid's made some good plays tonight. Balls in the dirt that he knocked down. He threw Baerga out at first after a ball was in the dirt. Curveball that he knocked down. Baerga made a break for second. He got to it, picked it up, and picked him off. Baerga coming back to the bag.
2-1 now to Murray. Fastball inside. The left-hander, Paul Assenmacher, who turned in such a clutch performance in Game 5 in Cleveland, has joined Tavares in the bullpen. Big swing and a miss at the 3-1.
Think he wasn't looking fastball? You know, and despite the Mariners down 4-0, this crowd still on their feet. It's great.
and especially when they come to the plate in the bottom of the 8th and in the 9th. He'll try and give them the appropriate send-off. A little pop. Cora again. That ends it, but not before 3 runs turn a taut 1-0 duel into a 4-0 Cleveland lead. 6 outs left for Seattle.
Later on the Tonight Show, who says Hollywood's the land of make-believe?
These are real, okay?
These are real? They are real.
Plus, Hollywood's hottest heartthrob, Antonio Banderas. A classic hit from Cyndi Lauper and a moronic movie.
Your brain gets too muscular. You get like stretch marks on your forehead.
Stay up for Jay, NBC Tonight.
A dejected Dan Wilson on the Seattle bench. Why? Because of this. The MCI proof positive replay of the game. First the pass ball. Amaro scores. Now watch Wilson. He knows he can't do anything about that. He thinks the play is over. Here comes Lofton. Caught by surprise. An extra run scores. Then Baerga hammers another nail in with the homer that makes it 4-0.
Been a long season. A lot of good work done by Dan Wilson.
Wilson is yanked for the pinch hitter Alex Diaz. The switch hitter who stands in against the new pitcher, Julian Tavares. New right fielder Ramirez out. The better fielding Wayne Kirby in. The Indians pitching staff had a team ERA of 1.74 in the division series against Boston, 1.96 entering this 6th game against Seattle, and they've got a shutout going. But the exception to that is Tavares. 0-1 in the postseason. An ERA of 5.40. He's allowed 8 hits in 5 innings of work. It started going sour for him in his first appearance of the postseason when Luis Alicea hit a game-tying homer for the Red Sox at Jacobs Field. New catcher, too, since they ran for Pena. Sandy Alomar Jr. is in. That's a strike, 2-1. Assenmacher continues to throw in Hargrove's bullpen. Mesa is a guy who doesn't require long to get ready. He's not throwing yet. 3-1.
You know, the Mariners, as you look at Paul Assenmacher and Jose Mesa sitting right behind him. Mariners may get a break here. I mean, Martinez was in such a groove and working the corners so well, and Tavares all over the place. There's a strike, though. And Coble, even the umpire, Bob, zeroed in on Martinez all night long with those pitches that were on the corner, inside or outside. And now it's Tavares.
3-2 pitch. Bouncing ball. Vizquel dives to smother it. Gets back up and gets the diving Diaz at first. Most impressive thing about that play, Uecker, not simply getting to the ball, but how quickly he bounced back up.
Boy, I'm telling you, you show me a better one. Watch this play. Diving stab by Vizquel, and as Bob said, he got up so very quickly, and Diaz runs well. Diving slide by Diaz, and they get him. What a play by Vizquel. I'm telling you, the more you watch that guy, and the Indians players tell you that, it becomes routine. You expect those things from him.
Coleman 1 for 3, an infield single, and his 4th stolen base of the series. There's a strike. This series has been filled with brilliant defensive plays and also marred by some weak defense that you would not expect from pennant contenders.
Yep. That final game in Cleveland on a very cold night. 4 errors by the Indians, 2 by the Mariners. But again, weather could have been a factor in that one. But you're right, and these clubs, Bob, and it's no secret, and both managers would tell you the same thing, that they're not the greatest defensive clubs in baseball. Boy, you got a guy like that at shortstop, though, it sure makes things a lot easier, doesn't it?
Punches him out. Called strike 3, says Drew Coble. And Coleman departs wordlessly, not risking the same fate that met Luis Sojo. It was over the plate. The question is, do they give him a high strike? The strike at the letters used to be a given in baseball. Not always anymore, but this time Coble says it's good enough.
Yep. And again, it might have been a splitter that time from Tavares. And I know Coleman thought the pitch was high. It could have been close enough to have a hack at. Gone on strikes.
Cora bounces one to Baerga. With Jose Mesa about to get ready, the Indians are an inning away from the World Series.
Little investment advice. Bip Roberts, 1986 rookie card, worth about $275. 20 years from now, who knows? 1,000, 2,000, might even go.
Bip, man, you were looking at Robin Roberts. It says here your card's worth 4 cents.
Yo, T, 4 cents if it's in excellent condition, but 10 cents if it's totally mint.
Oh, sorry.
This year, Unsolved Mysteries will be more exciting than ever. You'll flip. Invigorating.
New Unsolved Mysteries, NBC Friday. Thursday, you know she loves this baby.
I'm putting Susie up for adoption.
You know he doesn't get involved.
Tell me, who did this to you?
What goes through your head when you're beating her?
You know these two are friends.
We're talking about a 4-year-old.
I thought we were practicing medicine.
I tell you something, if it was your kid, you would bet on a miracle.
Maybe you don't know as much as you thought. ER, so good you should watch it and tape it. NBC Thursday.
The Million Man March and what it means for Lexington.
It's your turn after the game.
More changes as we move to the 9th. Wayne Kirby, who was in for defense in the bottom of the 8th, is in Ramirez's slot in the order. He's the first hitter here against Charlton. There's a new catcher, Chris Widger. They hit for Wilson in the bottom of the 8th. Widger will hit in the leadoff spot, vacated by Coleman. And in left field is Alex Diaz. Wilson alone with his thoughts. Hit hard. Cora short hops it from his knees. He throws Kirby out. Well, you knew this was going to happen.
Yep. That's their main man, Jose Mesa.
Herbert Perry on the first pitch. A fly to right center. Buhner. In the bottom of the 9th, fittingly, Griffey, Edgar Martinez, Tino Martinez. If anyone gets on, Buhner, and then Blowers.
I remember over in Cleveland when we were talking with Lou Piniella, and he told us what most of the baseball people think about this Indians ball club, saying that, you know, everybody talks about their hitting, about Albert Bell and Ramirez and Sorrento, and Jim told me, he said, you know what makes this Indians ball club? Their pitching staff. And tonight, behind Dennis Martinez with a brilliant outing, leading 4-0 in the 9th. A great bullpen. And again, this Seattle ball club, a solid club. They're here because they belong here.
Espinosa goes down on strikes. Charlton keeps it. A 4-0 game. We're back after this from your local station.
Thursday on Friends.
I'm looking for Bob.
Wrong number.
I'm hot.
Bob here. And the single guy learns the meaning of charity. Then relax in Kramer's hot tub.
In your living room?
And Caroline's caught in a compromising position.
We record everything.
Everything?
All new NBC Thursday.
This is how long it's been. The footage was in black and white. In the World Series against the Giants, the late Vic Wirtz with that drive in Game 1 that somehow Willie Mays was able to run down, started the Giants on their way to a 4-0 sweep over Al Lopez's Indians, who had gone 111 and 43. And if Jose Mesa can retire the Mariners here in the ninth, in a sense, this will be for Al Lopez, still hale and hearty in his 80s, watching no doubt in Tampa, Florida, for Larry Doby, and for Al Rosen, for Bob Feller, who made the trip from Cleveland and is here tonight, for Herb Score, the longtime voice of the Indians, great pitcher whose career was cut short. And also, I imagine, there's Herb. And a lot of long-suffering fans are thinking, in a way, it's for the Chico Simones and the Max Alvises. Griffey rolls one foul. And even for a year, Joe Charbonneau. And for people who performed well but without enough support, like Sam McDowell, like Daddy Wags Wagner, like Andre Thornton. The 0-1 pitch. Baerga. In all likelihood, the last at-bat of an injury-scarred 1995 for the player who may be, all things considered, the best all-around player in the game, and he won't be 26 until next month. The Budweiser airship, folks, is 194 feet long, 2/3 the length of a football field, it says right here. Those are the kind of facts you don't get just anywhere, thanks for the blimp shot. And you're welcome for the blimp pop.
Talking about former Indians, too, Bob, it was great to see Rocky Colavito there.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it?
The curse of Rocky Colavito, as they call it, that's been lifted, it appears.
After a couple of more outs. Yep. Boy, what a year this guy had. Dennis Martinez tonight.
Charles Nagy in the middle. He won't have to go in Game 7, it appears. 1-2 to Edgar Martinez. And you know, with the expanded playoffs this year, with the inclusion of wild cards and with the mini divisions, in the end, the two best teams, the Braves had the best record overall in the National League. The Indians clearly had the best record in all of baseball. They ran the gauntlet, and it appears that they've made it through. Martinez has this sorry series for him end on a strikeout.
After a great year. Great year for Martinez. A tough series, tough postseason. Again, this Seattle ball club, Bob, nothing to be ashamed of. It's been a long year, a big come-from-behind year for Seattle after, I mean, when they overhauled California, everybody thought they were out of it. They did. They overhauled the Angels. And then that big series in Texas, where they win 2, lose 2 to force a playoff against California, and win that one here at the Kingdom. And then the division series, backs against the wall, winning 3 here. Been a great year.
2-0 to Martinez. I suspect that when it ends, there will be not silence, but an expression of appreciation, respect for the Indians, and love for the Mariners and what they've done, not just this year, but in making this, for the first time, a baseball town.
Right. It's not over yet. We're 1 out away, but, you know, when you see people like Joey Cora, who I know is devastated tonight, and Dan Wilson, you can't forget about the years they've had. Cora's had an outstanding year. And a miscue tonight. Back in the 5th inning, cost Randy Johnson a run. Still alive.
A 4-pitch walk to Tino Martinez. And now Jay Buhner. Wilson's expression hasn't changed since the 8th. And I imagine it won't for several days.
No, you're right, Bob. I think that's the thing that people remember. And it's the last time you've seen the guy and the last time you've seen the club, and you remember the things that happened in this game tonight. If indeed they do lose this game, it wipes out what has been a great season for Seattle, the players, and the city.
Fouled off. You know who else you have to feel bad for here in Seattle? Our buddies Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, and Tim McCarver.
Yep.
They came all the way across country just in case there was a 7th game tomorrow. Now, if we make them pick up the tab at dinner tonight, that'll really be brutal.
That'll really be a story, too. They pick up anything.
Buhner grounds one to third. A long throw is in time. And the Cleveland Indians, after a 41-year wait, are in the World Series. In their hearts, they did refuse to lose. But the Indians were an irresistible force this year.
Well, it's been a great year for Cleveland. And we've seen enough of them over the last couple of weeks to realize how great a ball club this is, Bob. And it's going to be interesting to see how they really do match up against the Braves in the up-and-coming World Series. But I've really enjoyed it. I mean, we've had some outstanding games, and look at Earl Hershiser, who we've talked about so much throughout this series, and Tony Pena, who's had a super series in a backup role from time to time. A couple of big base hits, big home run in postseason play. Jay Buhner, great year, 40 home runs, 121 runs batted in. I mean, it's always tough if you've been there as a player and you know what it is to be on both sides. As the winner, as a champion, as a world champion, that story tells it all right there, fans. Right there tells it all.
And look who has to console Cora, 20-year-old youngster Alex Rodriguez with such a bright future ahead of him. Cora, like so many on both sides, played his heart out in this series. They brought the mounted police out on the field just in case it isn't necessary. The fans remain in place. They're all standing. And as the last of the Indians made their way into the dugout and headed toward the clubhouse, they received applause of appreciation and respect, but most of this is for the Mariners. Let's find out who the most valuable player of the 1995 American League Championship Series is. Jim Gray is downstairs for the presentation. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Bob. I'm here with Ron Daniels. The Chevy MVP has been named, and it's Orel Hershiser. And to make the presentation for Chevrolet, here's Ron.
Orel, congratulations on behalf of Chevrolet and the Chevrolet dealers. I'm glad to present you with this trophy as the most valuable player of this series. In addition, Chevrolet will make a contribution of a brand new 1996 Astro to Special Olympics in your name. Congratulations.
All right. Orel, congratulations. Were you surprised that your teammates were able to beat Randy Johnson tonight?
Well, you know, you got to take your hat off, first of all, to Randy. He's an unbelievable trooper out there. He's a gamer, and he went as hard as he could for as long as he could. The first game he pitched outstanding, and we had a chance to beat him later on. And tonight we finally got to him, but you could tell that he had put a lot of work in.
You're perfect in the postseason, 7-0. You get 2 wins here. Now you move on to Atlanta against Greg Maddux. What about the Braves?
Well, the Braves are an outstanding club, and I've been out of the National League for a year, and they've got a lot of new young talent, guys that we're really going to have to look after on the films and scout them. But, you know, we're going to run into a great pitching staff and a great offense.
What do you have to say to the fans back in Cleveland? It's been 41 years.
Cleveland fans, we've worked as hard as we can for you this year. This has been fantastic, and in accepting this MVP, I accept it on behalf of the team because everybody did a great job.
Orel, congratulations to you. We look forward to seeing you in the series.
All right, thanks a lot.
Let's go back upstairs to Bob Costas.
Jim, thanks a lot. Bobby Cox has already said Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz for the first 3 games of the World Series. I'd be very surprised if it's not Hershiser and Maddux in Game 1, where Hershiser will try against the stiffest possible opposition in Maddux to win his 8th consecutive postseason game, and that would break a record he now shares with Bob Gibson, who won 7 straight World Series starts. Down to the Indians clubhouse. Hannah Storm's there. Hannah?
Well, I'm here with American League President Gene Budig and also General Manager and Vice President of the Cleveland Indians, John Hart, the manager, Mike Hargrove. Gene, if you'll present the trophy.
The American League is genuinely pleased to present this magnificent trophy to the Cleveland Indians. It was a marvelous year, a great series. Our best wishes to you and Mr. Jacobs.
Well, thank you, Dr. Budig. It's been 41 years from the city of Cleveland. Been 41 years. A great organization, a lot of work by a lot of very special people, and it's a great ball club. Skipper?
41 years of suffering. Can you give us a sense of what this means to your franchise and the city of Cleveland?
I don't know that I can. I think that the people of Cleveland have suffered long, and this is something that you never can count on. You work and work, and you build and build and build until you get the right people that are in place to do the job. You just never know.
Can I send you my dry cleaning bill?
Yeah, would you please? Yeah.
Good luck in the World Series. Let's give it up to Bob.
Well, Hannah thought she'd escape. I've been in that position many times myself. There is no escaping. Mike Hargrove was part of so many of those woeful Cleveland teams, a good player on a bad ball club. Now, he pilots them to the World Series. For Bob Uecker, I'm Bob Costas. The final score once again from Seattle. The Indians 4, the Mariners nothing. Cleveland wins the American League crown. They meet Atlanta in the Fall Classic. We'll see you for part of that. Next, stay tuned for your local news, followed by The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and Antonio Banderas and Cyndi Lauper are among his guests. From Seattle, good night, everybody.
The 95 World Series.
4 games in 1 year's worth of playoffs, and 5 of them did that before the year 1890. Dave Stewart won 2 apiece in the LCS and World Series of '89. Jack Morris repeated the feat in 1991, and tonight, Randy Johnson had a chance to do it, and more importantly, to increase his chances of getting a 5th win. The Indians on the verge of the series. The Mariners on the verge of, where else? Elimination. At the Kingdome, Game 6. That's right, the mound was too high by ½ an inch. Marty Springstead, the supervisor of umpires, demanded that a ½ an inch be removed, and then Randy Johnson tried to remove a ½ inch of Kenny Lofton. Hits the dirt in the first batter of the first inning. A few pitches later, Randy gets pay dirt this time. Lofton, ring the Lofton up. Top of the second, Johnson and Alvaro Espinosa, long fly ball going way back in left field. Alvaro, foul ball. Johnson then says, you do that to me, I'll do this to you. The hook, see ya. Dennis Martinez, about whom there have been questions since July. Should there have been any questions tonight? Jay Buhner, Bone, have a seat. Top of the 5th inning. Carlos Baerga, line drive, short right field, full extension, Joey Cora. What a series he has had. Next batter with 2 out. Espinosa ground ball, Cora. What a series he has. Throws it away. In fact, hit Espinosa on the throw, and Espinosa to second. So the ground ball, single into left field. Espinosa scores. They're not gonna get him. It's an unearned run, 1-0 try. Your next batter, the ex-Mariner, Omar Vizquel. This could break the game right open here. Long fly ball to left, and Coleman goes back. Vince has had problems. Full extension, great catch, Coleman. So it's still 1-0 Indians, moving to the bottom of the 6th. Coleman is on at second. Griffey. Could this be it? Home runs throughout the postseason. Sends Lofton back to the track. It's deep, but I think it's playable. And then with runners on second and third and 2 out, Dennis Martinez against Tino Martinez, and the veteran wins the battle of the Martinez. Top of the 8th now, 1-0. Indians still ahead, nobody out. Tomey on second. Lofton the bunt. Johnson's momentary hesitation towards third, and they're not going to get him at first. Everybody's safe. And then Dan Wilson can't handle the Johnson pitch. Here comes Tomey. Lofton has never stopped. Kenny Lofton from second base on a pass ball. Safe, safe, safe. 3-0 Indians, the backbreaker. Asked to do 4 times in one postseason what nobody else had ever done twice. Save a team from elimination. Randy Johnson finally gives up the ghost. Carlos Baerga, the game-clinching home run a batter later. It's 4-0 Indians. Lou Piniella removes the Randy Johnson with a fabulous season in which the Mariners won 30 of his 34 starts. The last out of the game, who else but Jose Mesa. And they get Buhner at first, and the season is over in the American League. Joey Cora, who gave so much for the Seattle Mariners, and Griffey first, and then Joey Cora in tears, unable to compose himself on the bench after the Mariners, who survived 3 elimination games in a matter of 16, or less than that, in a matter of about 12 days, can't make it 4 in 16. The Indians go to the World Series for the first time since 1954. They will rematch against the Atlanta Braves, who they faced when they were the Boston Braves in 1948. How long ago is that? That's 3 cities ago for the Braves. The Indians finally break the schneid of 41 years. We'll look back on all that has happened in Cleveland a little later on in Sports Center. Dan?
American League pennant. Let's go now to Mark Morgan, our man live on the field. Mark?
It's an absolutely amazing scene here. The Mariners fans have not left. Their team has come out of the dugout and they're cheering their heroes here. But the Cleveland Indians have done something many people thought they could not do. They beat Randy Johnson. They won 2 games here at the Kingdome. The Indians are headed to the World Series. Carlos Baerga was right here. We're holding on, Carlos. Baerga with a terrific series. Here you are. What are your emotions? You guys had the best team during the regular season, 100 wins, and now you're going to the World Series.
Well, we showed the whole season, you know, that we really, you know, have a good team. You know, we got the pitching, we got the defense. But I really have to take my hat to this team. This team played hard the whole year. They come back. They was down against the California Angels. They come back. In the last game, they beat the California. They come back against the Yankees, come back. And against us, you know, they go, you know, in front of the series right away. Randy Johnson was unbelievable. You know, he's the best pitcher in the American League. But thanks God that we beat it today. That was a big game. We don't want to go to Game 7.
Let's talk about the pitching on this ball club. Everyone talks about you and Albert Bell and Eddie Murray, but the pitching, especially MVP Oral Hershiser, unbelievable in this series.
Hershiser was unbelievable. He asked for the ball with 3-day rest. You know, he showed that. That's why he's one of the best pitchers in this game. And it is unbelievable. Dennis Martinez never win in the postseason, and I was praying for him. God just giving this gift to him, you know, so he can win this game right here. And thanks God that Dennis pitched an unbelievable game too.
You're going to the World Series. What about the Atlanta Braves and their pitching staff?
Atlanta Braves, they are the best team in the National League. That's why they show it every year. They're in there, and it's going to be a tough series, but we show it again. You know, we got a good team, and it's going to be a good series.
Congratulations. Go enjoy some champagne.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Carlos Baerga, a member of the Cleveland Indians who are going to the World Series for the first time in 41 years. Let's go back to the studio.
Okay, Mark Morgan, amazing how the crowd there is still appreciative of their Seattle Mariners and their great effort. Thanks a lot, Mark. Okay.
He's showing in the 6th when he throw one pitch and he showed like he got something in his elbow. You know, I said to the guys, I think something happened to Randy. But they let him in there. Let's go. Tony Peña got a big still, you know, to open the inning, and we scored 2 runs, 3 runs that inning.
Carlos, how important going into the World Series was it to have to play such tough, low-scoring, defensive-oriented games throughout this series?
It's good because that's what we're going to face when we play against Atlanta. They got a good team. They are the best team in the National League. And the fans, they're going to have the best 2 teams in Major League Baseball playing the World Series.
All season, there's been so much talk about the offense, and yet it was the pitching throughout this series that dominated.
I said, you know, since the beginning, it's going to be the pitching and defense series, and we show it, you know, both teams, you know. At Bosio, we never thought that Bosio was going to stop our hitting, you know, and he pitched a good game against us. You know, Randy, the first guy that they throw against us, we said, whoa, we're going to kill this guy. He's a rookie guy. He stopped our offense, you know. That's why, you know, in this series, you really have to play some good defense.
All right, Carlos, thank you very much. We'll see you in Atlanta, Game 1 of the World Series on Saturday.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Peter, let's talk about it. You just brought it up, and so did he. They shut down the Red Sox, their starting pitching, and it was the same thing in this series.
Oh, they've played 9 games in the postseason. Their starters have allowed 9 earned runs. They have been absolutely brilliant. The 2 statistics that, to me, are really amazing and talk about the quality of their pitching and the way they pitch hitters. In 9 games, leadoff hitters from the Red Sox and Mariners got 3 hits. And then you take the 3, 4, 5 hitters. They were about 600 RBIs. Only Vaughn, Canseco, Greenwell, Griffey, and 2 Martinez's. 15 for 105, a 143 average, and 2 RBIs. That is brilliant pitching.
One of those starting pitchers is your League Championship Series MVP, and that, of course, is Oral Hershiser, though I think an argument can certainly be made for Kenny Lofton, who tonight I thought was the difference.
Well, Kenny Lofton is such a great athlete. Last time against Johnson, he got the triple to account for 1 run, knocked in the other run. Tonight, Johnson knocked him down, threw right over his head with the 3rd pitch of the game. And then what does he do? He comes up and gets the base hit to put them ahead. There were 14 hits off Johnson by left-handers. Thus far, at the end of the season, Lofton had 3 of them in this series.
Talk about the performance of Randy Johnson. People had said that in the last game he pitched, he tired in the 4th inning. Tonight, he appeared to go a little longer, but he definitely seemed tired at the end.
It did, particularly with his breaking ball. We saw it the last time up against Lofton. All of a sudden, where he had that sharp breaking ball, he was just rolling it at that point, and he was really struggling with his control. And that, I mean, but such heart to go back out there time after time and get them in this position.
All right, Peter. We'll be back a little bit later on and talk more. One other thing from this game, which was unbelievable, the play of Omar Vizquel. But we'll come back to the Kingdome a little later on. For now, let's go back to Dan.
Carl and Peter, thank you. Also coming up in our breakdown segment, we'll take a look at
home field. Makes it even nice, and
just capped off a great season for us so far, and you know, we're all celebrating now, but we know there's one more step, and that's to go to Atlanta and beat them, and just feels great right now.
To talk to some of the players, did your team feel like you got enough credit during the regular season because you won a remarkable 100 games in a strike-shortened season? This is a good baseball team.
Yeah, I think everybody realizes how good we all are all around. You know, everybody knew about our offense, but I think everybody kind of doubted our pitching staff. You know, we got a lot of veterans on our staff, and they seem to come through in the series. They shut down some great hitters in the Seattle bunch, and he's got a tippy hat to our staff. They kept us in every game and gave us an opportunity to win.
Congratulations. We'll see you in Atlanta.
All right, thanks.
Paul Sorrento, one of many very happy Cleveland Indians. As we said, they are ahead of the World Series for the first time in 41 years. Let's go back to the studio.
Based on a pass ball in this decisive game of the ALCS. Well, we can ask him questions about that and other Indians questions about this game. Carl Ravitch standing by with Kenny and the entire Indians team at the Kingdome. Carl?
Well, certainly the builder of that team is here, the GM, John Hart. But first, we're going to start with Kenny Lofton. Kenny, congratulations on this game. And I think that I never saw a greater deal of intensity from a hitter. After Randy Johnson got 2 strikes on you, nearly took your head off. And then after that, you just decided either I'm going to get hit by the ball or I'm going to hit the ball.
Well, that's basically what I thought about after he threw him. He kind of made me think a little bit. And after that, I had to tell myself, like you said, I'm going to either get hit or hit the ball. And I stayed in there.
Tell me about the emotion of this game, because it seemed like it had stayed on an even keel, and then all of a sudden you come around on a pass ball, then Carlos hits a home run, biggest play of the game.
Yeah, I think what happened was I saw the guy just kind of gingerly go over there, and once he went over there kind of slowly, I just kept going, and I scored, and then Carlos hit the home run afterwards.
All right, John Hart, GM, you built this team. Certainly he's one of the cornerstones of it. We're not going to talk about the future because I'm sure you want to talk about the present right now. What you have done here, your goals have been accomplished to this level.
Well, there's, you know, the old cliche, there's still one more step, but we've got very, very special players. You know, when you have a lot of talent, we've had a lot of young players that have been there when it was tough. When we lost some games, and, you know, this franchise has been 41 years, but the last 3 or 4, this was a building process, and I thought we added some quality free agents that really stepped up big for us, and, you know, everybody talked about our offense, and which is a great offense, but, you know, our pitching came up big for us, and, I mean, this is a team in the truest sense. These guys, this game's about the players, and they stepped up real big.
John, you look at the heroes in this series, the pitchers, Dennis Martinez and Oral Hershiser are free agents, but most of all in the middle, Carlos Baerga, Omar Vizquel, Kenny Lofton, all major trades that you had to make in building this franchise. When you look back now, can you say to yourself, wow, there's some of the great moves I ever made?
Well, I'll tell you what, right now it's nice to be able to accept the kudos. It really is. And, you know, again, it comes back to the players. It's all about the players. We've got a tremendously strong middle of the diamond. You know, Kenny and Carlos, Omar, we got 2 gold gloves there. And, you know, this club has been built, I think, in a way that, you know, with young players, with a lot of young players, but a lot of guys with great character. Not only great talent, but great character. And I think that's how you win.
Can you talk a little bit, just tell us what Kenny means to the whole personality of this team in the leadoff spot?
Well, there's not a player in either league that has the talent that Kenny has. He's a tough kid. I go back to the Rookie of the Year. He played a half a season hurt. The next year, he just, you know, played hurt again and kept putting up the big numbers and kept getting better. And, you know, he sets the table for us. You look at a lot of our guys with the RBIs. You look at Kenny setting the table. He played this entire year, not at 100%. And, you know, he's obviously the offensive catalyst, and he's the best defensive player we have. He's special.
All right, John Hart, thank you very much. Kenny Lofton, thank you very much. Congratulations. We'll see you at the World Series. The fans here in Seattle, many of them have still hung around. They've asked Kenny Lofton to do them one more favor, and that is to beat Atlanta in the World Series. And you know one thing, Keith, about Kenny Lofton, and nobody will try to do that harder than he will. Let's go back to Keith.
All right, Carl, thanks very much. Game 1 of the World Series. Looks like Maddox and Hershiser, at least 4, maybe 5 Cy Youngs in the field Saturday. More from Carl and company at the Kingdome in a few moments. But for now, thus it is over. A long, sad 4-decade march into oblivion for a team, a franchise, a city. It's all at an end tonight. The Cleveland Indians are in the World Series, and the last time they could say that, everything was in black and white. On the morning of September 29, 1954, Cleveland, Ohio was the sports capital of the world. In 8 years of existence, the Browns of Otto Graham and Paul Brown had won 5 championships and been runners-up the other 3 times. And the Indians had just finished a season of 111 victories and 43 defeats, the best record ever in the American League. They had broken the Yankees' 5-year World Championship streak. The Yanks won 103 games that year and finished 8 behind. Early Wynn had won 23 games. Bob Lemon had won 23 games. Mike Garcia had won 19 games. They were so deep, Bob Feller couldn't even get a start in the series. On the morning of September 29, 1954, Cleveland, Ohio was the sports capital of the world. And then Vic Wertz stepped to the plate.
There's a long drive way back in center field, way back, it is. Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
The Indians never recovered. Between the Mays catch and the unlikely hitting of the Mike Devereaux of 1954, a Giants outfielder named Dusty Rhodes, Cleveland was swept in perhaps the most humiliating upset in World Series history. The Indians decided to rebuild. In 6 days in April of 1960, they made 2 trades with the Tigers. First, they dealt Norm Cash for Steve Demeter. Then, they gave up Rocky Colavito for the singles hitter Harvey Keene. After the trade, Cash and Colavito would combine to hit 568 home runs. Keene and Demeter would combine to get 146 Indian base hits. Through the rest of the 60s and 70s, the tribe foundered.
For those of us who have been there when things weren't all that good at the old ballpark, and it was almost as if everybody had their own concessionaire at that time.
The low point was at Joe Charbonneau, Rookie of the Year in 1980, 70 Major League games played thereafter. Was it the 87 Indians of Corey Snyder and company, picked to win the pennant, losers of 100 games? Was it the tragedy and the tragic symbolism of the deaths of Tim Cruz and Steve Olin in 1993? Cleveland had never recovered from any of this. The Browns would become the team of Red Right 88. The Cavs would lose every spring, usually to Michael Jordan. Since the late 60s, the only thing on fire in Cleveland had been the river. But now it is as if the intervening 41 years have been wiped away. For Indians fans, it's September 29th, 1954, all over again. Well, without the part about getting swept in the World Series. What has Cleveland actually won since that 54 World Series? Well, the Browns would win the title the next year and again in 64, but beyond that, it's your 1961-62 American Basketball League champion Cleveland Pipers, owned by George Steinbrenner, and the minor league American Hockey League titles won by the Barons in 57 and 64. Congratulations, Cleveland.
Still to come on the big show, that's Carl, that's Peter, and that's your Game 1 starter for the Indians, Paul Hershiser. Thanks for the memories. We've got more next.
To a very noisy Kingdom. The reason everybody is clapping is that Jay Buhner just conducted an interview, and now he is headed back inside the Mariners clubhouse. Joining us now is Orel Hershiser, the LCS MVP. Congratulations on that. First of all, the emotions of the fact that you're going to another World Series.
Well, to go to the World Series is fantastic. To see John Hart, Mike Hargrove, their plan of bringing me here and see it all come together, and Dennis Martinez and all the guys they've added, Winfield and Eddie. It's fantastic to see a general manager's plan come through.
You seem to understand the game as well as anyone I've ever seen as a player. What about the performance of Dennis Martinez tonight?
Dennis Martinez pitched a professional job tonight. Here's a guy who's 40 years old. He's got some aches and pains. We had to move him back as far as when he started. And he executed his game plan perfectly. He was able to execute. He was able to come through in the clutch. And he drew on all of his experience tonight, that's for sure.
Well, at this point, where you guys have pitched so well, the starters with 9 earned runs in 9 games, do you start to feed off each other and start talking to one another about these situations?
Well, I really do think that good pitching breeds more good pitching. It's contagious because you get to watch the formula on the mound. You get to see what hitters are having trouble with. And, you know, this is not like the regular season where you face somebody only 2 games or 3 games and then you're out of the city and they get out of their slump. You get to keep facing them and facing them. It gets to become a mental thing with the hitters where that they got out on that slider way. Is this team going to continue to go there, or are they going to switch up? So it can be contagious.
When you were watching the bat with Tino Martinez was 2nd and 3rd, what went through your mind watching that?
Well, it's just fantastic to watch Dennis in a big clutch situation. We've got a 1-0 lead. He's hit Edgar. Edgar's stolen second. Now you've got 2nd and 3rd and 2 out, and a key situation with Buhner on deck. And he's got first base open, but he really wants to go after Tino because that's who's been struggling. He goes fastball away for a ball, fastball, you know, on the corner for a strike, and then it goes all the way to 3-2 or something, and he goes with a changeup that is right on the same path and the same pattern as those fastballs that he started him out with. Tino's got to think it's the fastball, it's the changeup, and he just gets him to swing and misses. Fantastic bit of pitching.
And Orel, it does not hurt to have the great defense like you guys have behind you. I don't think Omar Vizquel needs to use that glove anymore.
You know, he made the barehanded play the one time where he really didn't need to when he hit Soho on the double play. And Soho was out by 3 feet at first. And he came in and set his glove down. I picked it up to see if the laces were broken or something. There's a reason he wasn't using it. But he finally used it there. We all applauded him when he dove up the middle and made that play.
Well, congratulations. A special team and a special time for the Indians. After 41 years, they're going back to the World Series. We will be back to the Kingdom a little bit later on. For now, let's go back to SportsCenter. I guess your lease ran out. You didn't expect to go this far. Super season for you guys.
Yeah, we didn't expect to go this far. We had a great season, and it fell a little short, but I'm proud of our kids. They played their hearts out all year. They played with a lot of emotion, a lot of dedication. They played great baseball. Cleveland won 100 ball games. You can see why. They've got everything.
Everybody talked about Cleveland and their ability to hit the ball. Again, you'll probably tell me you weren't surprised by their pitching, but they have been so effective. I think that's been a surprise.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Cleveland organization. They've got a great ball club, and I hope they represent the American League well in the World Series. I'm sure they will. But I said before this series started, I thought the key for our ball club was to score runs off their pitching. If we could score runs off of their pitching, I thought we could win the series. Unfortunately, Cleveland's job did a good job, or a great job, actually, shutting us down.
Lou, at the end, did you have at least kind of go back and forth on whether or not to take out Randy Johnson? And
he was running out of gas there in the 8th inning, and I knew it. I had Norm start to warm up when the inning started, and I went out to talk to Randy. He said he was fine. And I think when the ball got by the catcher and they scored a couple of runs, it really took the air out of the balloon. But he's had such a great year. We've ridden his shoulders all year. He's the main reason we're here. And tonight, he was throwing the ball well. And I think all the innings he's pitched here at the end caught up to him a little bit. But what a fantastic year. I'm looking forward to the Cy Young vote because I'm sure he's going to win it.
What about when you guys came back out here and this place was completely filled, everyone on their feet cheering?
Well, I've never seen that before, Peter. I'll be honest with you. You know, usually you lose a game of this caliber, the fans file out of the ballpark, but here they stayed, all 50-some thousand of them. And I told the players, I said, look, let's go back out there and tip our hats to these people, because there have been signs out here saying 10th man. Well, they've been our 10th man here for the last 6 weeks of the season. And, you know, when you have fans like this, it can really give your team adrenaline, and they play better. Our home record is very reflected of it here at home.
All right, Lou, congratulations on a super season.
Thank you.
Quite a turnaround here in Seattle. They should be proud of that. Peter Gammons and Lou Piniella, I'm Carl Ravitz. Let's go back to SportsCenter.
And I will see the other competition in Seattle. Does the team stay? Carl, thanks very much. Dan? Junior Griffey congratulating Wayne Kirby and their Kenny Lofton of the American League champion Cleveland Indians. This note also Orel Hershiser, first guy ever to be playoff MVP on a National League playoff and an AL playoff.
After Dennis Martinez took the loss in the opening game of the American League Championship Series, manager Mike Hargrove decided to give his 40-year-old pitcher 6 days rest. The strategy worked as El Presidente kept the meat of the Mariners lineup off balance. Tonight's breakdown takes a closer look at the portrait he painted.
Lou Piniella went back to his usual lineup for Game 6 with Griffey, Edgar, Tino, and Buhner hitting 3, 4, 5, and 6. But it hasn't been where they're hitting. It's been what they're getting to hit that matters. In the Yankees series, the middle of Seattle's order hit .455 with 9 homers. Why? Well, because the Yankee hurlers, David Cone, Jack McDowell, and John Wetland, came with heat, which the meat of the M's pounded repeatedly. But it was a different story in the ALCS, mainly because the Mariners were seeing different tight pitches. Cleveland staff relied on the off-speed pitches, and entering Game 6, the M's Big Four were batting a combined .237. The Martinezes have had the most off-speed trouble. Tino with 6 strikeouts in his first 19 at-bats. Edgar just 1 hit in his first 20 at-bats. The troubles continued tonight in Game 6. Edgar grounding out on a changeup down and away, and Tino flying out on a breaking ball. In the second inning, Martinez sent Jay Buhner down on a changeup, the same pitch Paul Ossenmacher got Buhner on in the 8th inning of Game 5. The heart of the order can't take all the blame, though. The table setters, Vince Coleman and Joey Cora, didn't get on base for the RBI men. Seattle's 2 leadoff guys went a combined 6 for 43, 1 for 8 tonight, including a crucial series in the 6th inning. After Coleman stole second with no outs, Cora popped out on a sacrifice attempt. Griffey followed with a deep fly on a slider, which would have scored Coleman from third. Edgar managed to get on base after getting hit by an inside breaking ball.
And to end the inning, Tino keyed on a changeup down and away. The series came down to missed opportunities. With runners in scoring position, the Mariners were just 3 of 39. Throughout the series, Coleman and Cora weren't able to set the table for the rest of the lineup. The pair combined, though, for 11 hits and 14 runs against the Yankees in the divisional playoff.
Final thoughts now to Seattle, Carl Ravitch and Peter Gammons. Carl?
Hi, Keith. Thank you very much. And, Peter, let's wrap this up. This game was sort of the series in microcosm. No runs, 4 hits for the Mariners.
Well, they did such a great job with their pitching the entire series. And Dennis Martinez tonight, with the rest that he asked for, had great stuff and really utilized it. Getting Tino Martinez out twice with really good changeups, jamming guys continually. I mean, he just pitched the way he pitched. Randy Johnson did not win either of his 2 starts.
Let's look ahead now, because many people figured if it was the Braves and the Indians, it would be Atlanta's pitching against the Indians' hittings. Well, now it's kind of pitching staff versus pitching staff.
Absolutely. Well, they're unquestionably the 2 best teams in baseball. Their pitching, the Indians' pitching, is in perfect position. They've got Hershiser to go game 1, Dennis to go in game 2, so they don't have to pitch him back in the cold. And no matter, they'll probably pitch both Nagy and Hill somewhere, 3-4 or 3-5. And so when they go back in the cold, they got 2 guys from New England who grew up in all that garbage.
But we're looking at a Hershiser-Maddox matchup, and how great can that be?
Now, there aren't too many people that have pitched in the last 10 years who do their craft better than Maddox and Hershiser. This is going to be a great game, and I just hope that they get matched up 2 or 3 times in this series.
All right, 4-0 the final from here. 4 games to 2. The Indians move on to the World Series. We'll have plenty more on the next edition of SportsCenter in a couple hours. For Peter Gammons, I'm Carl Ravitch from the Kingdom. Let's go back to SportsCenter.
Carl, thank you. Great job. So the World Series opens at Fulton County Stadium, Atlanta, Saturday night. The Braves and Indians meeting for the first time since '48. 4 and perhaps, probably, 5 Cy Youngs out there on the mound. Greg Maddux, Oral Hershiser, Indians resetting their rotation in such a way that the Bulldog, who was pitching against the Braves in the National League just a season ago, could face them 3 times.
Breakdown is brought to you by McDonald's.
Advances to the Fall Classic. But are they ready for the Braves?
I haven't really scouted Atlanta that much other than because the games are on at the same time and it was regional coverage, so.
You think that's funny? How about a general manager that would rather be a scout? Lawrence Phillips speaks out on his future, and the future of the Northwestern Wildcats is now.
Taking the purple to Pasadena, that's what he said.
The cash register is rung in Winnipeg, but is the store closing? And in the NBA, the Cavs and Raptors swap players who never played for their respective teams. The show isn't as long as it seems, so run to your nearest TV set. It's time for Shirts and Skins. SportsCenter next.
Hello and welcome to the big show. Along with Dan Patrick, I'm Craig Kilborn with lots to get to.
Among the items on tonight's agenda, the trials and tribulations of Steffi Graf continue. How much would you pay for a bunch of Jets? About $68 million. And is Houston on the verge of losing its baseball team? We'll tell you which city is courting the Astros. But
first, some baseball, Dan. Here we go. Before the regular season even started, the Cleveland Indians had no shot at getting the home field advantage in the playoffs. The divisions were already picked for hosting, but that didn't stop the Indians from going out and winning the most games in the majors. They haven't had the home field advantage in any of their playoff series, and they won't versus Atlanta in the World Series. The Game 1 starters will be Greg Maddux versus Oral Hershiser.
Greg Maddux appears headed for his 4th consecutive Cy Young Award. Despite his success, he has struggled mightily in the postseason with a 3-2 record and a 5.57 ERA. Oral Hershiser is 7-0 in the postseason with a glowing 1.47 ERA. Hershiser mastered the Braves in his Dodger days. Dennis Martinez experienced success as well while in Montreal. Ken Hill, the other National League refugee, struggled versus Atlanta against the Braves.
Since I left the National League for 1 year, you know, they got Chipper Jones and Klesko and Lopez behind the plate, and they've got, you know, Marquise in center now, so it's a little different look than what I faced. But there's a few guys there I've faced, even though they're in other uniforms, and some of the younger guys that I haven't faced that I'm going to have to learn.
With no lefties in his starting rotation, Mike Hargrove will start only righties against a Brave lineup top-heavy in left-handed power. Dave Justice, Ryan Klesko, and Fred McGriff were mediocre during the season against lefties. Switch hitter Chipper Jones hit them well. Against right-handers, Justice, Klesko, and McGriff's numbers jumped. Chipper Jones down considerably.
Cleveland's main lefty out of the bullpen, Paul Ossenmacher, hasn't allowed a hit in the postseason. Ossenmacher has struck out 5 of the 10 batters he's faced. Closer Jose Mesa is well rested, having worked only 6 innings since October the 1st. After becoming the full-time closer in mid-May, Mesa has worked more than 1 inning just once in 58 appearances. In his National League days, Eddie Murray managed just 1 home run and 12 RBIs in 138 at-bats against Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz. In 8 combined World Series starts, Glavine and Smoltz have a 2.02 ERA, but only a 3-2 record. The emergence of Mark Wohlers has finally given Atlanta the missing element from past World Series, a closer. Former closer Alejandro Pena hasn't allowed a run in the postseason as a setup man. Chipper Jones at .412, Marquise Grissom at .400, and Javi Lopez at .391 have provided plenty of postseason punch.
Now that you've got the 2 best teams in the regular season playing each other in the World Series, you couldn't ask for a better matchup. We've got a chance for a very exciting series. 2 cities that are starved for a championship team. And like I say, you couldn't ask for a better script.
The Braves sweep of the Reds is a good omen for the Braves winning the World Series. The last 4 teams to sweep in the NLCS went on to win the World Series. The Cards in '82, We Are Family in '79, and the Reds in '75 and '76. But the '95 Braves are the first NL team to sweep a best-of-7 NLCS.
Records for the series title. First time in a decade, as it should be.
I think absolutely the right thing happened. The 2 best records get to play each other, and that's the way it should be.
You're going to see some great baseball players. You're going to see some great pitchers on the mound. You're going to see some great defensive outfielders, infielders, catchers, and some guys that can hit the ball a long way.
I'm glad it worked out this way. You know, it's really, you know, a lot of hurdles for both teams to get here, but, you know, both of us have made it over them. There's 1 more to go.
While the Cleveland Lumber got them to this point, the Braves pitching has brought them this far, and as our Bob Lorenz reports, that pitching will have to take them the rest of the way to finally get over that hump.
The Atlanta Braves boast the poster boys of fine pitching. Front and center, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz. Big on talent, small on ego.
I think it's very unique, and I think that's why they are something special. I mean, these guys have been together a long time. We've all grown up together, so to speak.
Everyone will get their turn, and everyone will beat a guy at some point, and I think that's what's helped the friendship go along, because everyone's really held their own weight.
The fact that the starters are friends as well as teammates helps soften the blow of possibly not pitching. Steve Avery and Kent Burker would be World Series starters for many other teams, but are relegated to role playing.
We realize that you know, the 3 guys that have gone in the NLCS and the Division Series are 3 of the best in baseball, and you know, it's really been the foundation for a while here.
Avery was able to get a start in the National League Championship Series when the Braves' Fab Four overpowered the Reds, limiting them to just 4 runs in 4 games.
If each one of us is on our game, then, you know, you're running 4 guys, 5 guys out there every night of the week that's giving you a chance to win, and that's a lot for opposing hitters night in and night out to go up against.
But the starting pitchers alone have not gotten the Braves to this point. It could be argued that that's been the case every year, but this season in particular, the Braves' oft-maligned bullpen has gotten the job done.
I think right now they're getting a lot more credit, they're getting a lot more attention, and I think it's attention that they've deserved a lot more than they've gotten.
They're getting it now, especially Mark Wohlers, who's developed into the closer the Braves always dreamed he'd be.
I think basically what happened in the early part of Mark's career, he would come into the game and look in there and say, wow, look who's hitting. And now I think that's completely reversed, and the hitters are saying, wow, look who's pitching.
I've never heard a hitter say that, and I doubt I ever will. But, you know, if they do, that's great, you know, because before, I know when I first came up, the shoe might have been on the other foot. Not that I'm saying I intimidate hitters, but if they feel that way, you know, I'm glad they feel that way instead of me.
With the smoldering lumber that the Cleveland Indians possess, the Braves pitchers might well have to mirror their effort against Cincinnati in order to hoist the championship trophy in their much-talked-about arms. In Atlanta, Bob Lorenz, CNN Sports.
Games 1 and 2 in Atlanta this weekend. Greg Maddux, the guy who sawed off Dwight Smith a moment ago in that video we saw for the Braves in Game 1. Orel Hershiser for the Indians, a man who has never lost in a postseason game.
In any language, it's cold and feels good when you win. So now that the Indians are in the World Series, who will be their catalyst? And as the Braves try to stay sharp, where will they draw first blood? Let's start at the top of each batting order with the power of Marquise Grissom and the speed of Kenny Lofton. Stuart Scott pits the leadoff men against each other to see whether it's the playing surface or the pitching that will let these guys blossom.
For Kenny Lofton, the remnants of any champagne will be long gone when he leads off the World Series against Greg Maddux. His counterpart, Marquise Grissom, must shake off the rust of 6 days of inactivity to lead the Braves. Each player has the ability to decide the series by himself, though each uses different methods to get the job done. Grissom has rocketed Atlanta through the postseason with sheer power, tripling Lofton's extra base hit total, while Lofton has relied on patience and speed to manufacture tribe runs. But what lies ahead for both players? Despite his ALCS success against the Big Unit and Company, the numbers are not good news for the catalyst of the Indians' offense. The series will be played entirely on grass, which has derailed the Lofton Express in the postseason so far. A 100-point decline in both batting average and on-base percentage from the regular season gives the Braves hope that they can win the crucial war of the base paths. Grissom, on the other hand, will face a steady diet of right-handed starting pitching in Martinez, Hershiser, Nagy, and possibly Ken Hill. And while he's starved in the regular season, he has feasted in the playoffs against righties, his production almost doubling in both batting average and slugging percentage. The winner of the leadoff battle could very well be leading his team in a World Series champagne shower.
Kenny Lofton changed the texture of that clinching LCS game with his dash from second base to home on the pass ball, and this year, Lofton became only the second man to lead the American League in stolen bases his first 4 years in the bigs. The other player, Luis Aparicio. Now, if we're talking history, let's talk Orel Hershiser. 11 postseason pitching appearances with 7 victories, no losses, and 1 save, and less than a run and a half a game in the ERA department. That kind of domination was expected from Hershiser in the late 80s. That kind of pitching was something Hershiser could not even hope for several years ago, as he told Peter Gammons.
Do you still have some doubt that you would ever come back to the point that you're at now?
I never had any doubt because I was never hoping for it. You know, you can't be disappointed. Is to have the comeback that I've experienced, every level that I've attained. If I would look at God and say, you know, thanks for that gift, but I want more, you know, there's no contentment in that. And I was content just to make it back to the big leagues.
Is it safe to assume that you think you made the right decision coming to Cleveland?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Of the 3 or 4 teams that we were seriously talking to, this was the right selection now with hindsight. You know, when I read the media guide, it said 7.5 runs a game. I wanted to see that in person.
Tell me a little bit about this team. I mean, how would you compare it to other extraordinary teams that you've both played on and played against?
It's the best team I've ever played on, and that's not a rip against the Dodgers because this team is going to compare with great teams in the regular season for all time, just what they've accomplished, especially in the shortened season. I've played against, wow, this might be the best team I've played against and played for altogether.
People talk a lot about role models in baseball, but do you ever think that maybe what a lot of people look to you as being as someone who's shown that you can be an immense and intense competitor without having to be macho?
Intensity can be played within the rules. Intensity doesn't have to come out in the form of a beard and a mustache and an ugly look and a grunt. It can be just performing your task to the best of your ability with everything that's in your body. And I do that. And I think part of my weapon is that people don't know that it's in me. So I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that I get the librarian yells from the dugout, and I get the, you know, what are you doing out there with that concave chest? You know, we're going to rip you. And so it's part of almost the mystique of they don't expect it to come out. So it's kind of fun.
20 years from now, how do you think people will remember you?
They probably won't. I don't know. Who won the Cy Young 20 years ago? I don't know. I'm not really worried about what they think. I would hope they would think of something maybe even off the field. Like, no matter what he accomplished, he was still a gentleman. Something like that would be a lot more satisfying to me than, boy, what a great pitcher, but do you know anything about him? You you know, what's his personal life like? Or, you know, boy, if they said, you know, what a family guy. Did you see how his kids grew up? I mean, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic.
On the field with that surgically reconstructed shoulder, 5 years into its second life, an offensive support usually only dream about. Orel Hershiser won 11 of his last 14 starts in the regular season. Perfect August, lowered the September ERA. October, he's been unreal. Is there hope for the Braves? Well, Orel is 20-9 against them lifetime, but this year his ERA on the road, exactly 5 runs a game. Speaking of big scores, Florida State's had some rather... Well, they've got speed and depth and power and pitching and a bullpen, the product of years of careful planning and prudent spending in the open market. So how good are these 1995 Cleveland Indians? Light years better than any other American League team during the regular season. Good enough to close out the Mariners on the road in 6. But as Keith Olbermann considers, does that mean the Indians can lay claim to any piece of history? It's a question for tonight's cover story.
I think they have the most relentless lineup that I've seen since I've been covering baseball.
It's a ball club that's proven to a lot of people that they've got some serious depth and some guys that can really swing the bat.
The Indians in season have been as good as any team has been in 40 years. Now we'll see whether they're a great team or not.
Exactly. Do what the Indians did this season, lose only 44 times. And people who think baseball history began in 1969 will presume you are the greatest team of all time. In fact, this year's Indians at 144 had the 11th best winning percentage ever. But what does that mean?
Unless they win the World Series, they don't go to that place in history with great teams.
There are a lot of teams like that. Take the teams with the top 20 one-loss records who went on to the World Series. 9 of them lost the World Series. 4 of the top 7 lost the World Series.
You can't become one of the great teams ever by what you do inside the season. You have to do it in postseason. You have to do it over a period of years.
Then again, offensively, there was something unprecedented about the 95 Indians.
The most amazing thing is Albert Bell. I never in my life expected any player to hit 50 homers and 50 doubles in the same season. That's an astonishing thing. The only other player who came close to doing that was Lou Gehrig in 1927 with the Yankees.
Ah, the 27 Yankees. Gehrig and Ruth's 60 homers, more than any other team that season. So what about the homers? Per game, the 95 Tribe is amazing. 1.44 homers per. Of the great team nominees, only the 61 Yankees of Maris and Mantle were better at 1.48. What about margin of victory? The Indians won the Central Division this year by a record 30 games, but they were only 14 games better than the rest of the league. 75 Reds, 15.5 better than the rest of the league. 27 Yankees, 19 better. Curiously, it may be pitching that gives credence to the candidacy of the 95 Indians to be among the all-time great.
There's no other great team in baseball history which has a bullpen that could match up with Mesa and Poole and Ossenmacher and Plunk and Taveras. Suppose that all the greatest teams ever were to get together for a kind of Super World Series. That would be what you would point to as the Indians' greatest strength, the one thing they have nobody else has.
So the bullpen ranks, but does the team? The best answer may be stay tuned.
We have a great ball club here, and I don't say it's as great as the 1927 Yankees or the 1948 Indians or anybody else. Could be, but let's see what happens in this series, and I wouldn't want to make any dumb predictions.
From a veteran of the statistically greatest Indian team of all time, the one that was swept in the '54 World Series by the Giants, those words should be a lesson to us all.
That's right. The best winning percentages in history don't translate necessarily to a World Series title. The '06 Cubs lost to the hitless Wonder White Sox. Those '54 Indians, 4th all-time, then swept. 95 Indians, they are in 11th place all-time. Of the top 10 teams, 5 of them won series. The ritual denied us last year. Gary Miller standing by at the World Series. Gary?
Bob, Kenny Lofton, just as well as Orel Hershiser, could have been the ALCS MVP. He reached base 15 times in the 6 games against the Mariners and ignited the clinching rally in Game 6. He's also familiar with Fulton County Stadium. He came up as a raw rookie with the Astros in September of '91 to watch the Braves clinch that pennant.
It gets pretty loud, pretty wild with the chop, and they make sure they let people know they're the Braves out here.
What you did against Randy Johnson in the decisive game of the ALCS, how much does that do for your... I know you're a confident player anyhow, but if you can do that against that guy, you must have supreme confidence even against this pitching staff.
Yeah, you're right. Anyone facing Randy Johnson, if you can do pretty good against him, I mean, any other pitcher is just gravy compared to what he does to you. And if I hung in there pretty tough against him, it shouldn't be any pitching league I shouldn't be able to hang in there.
However, runs, I think, will be at a premium. You guys led the majors in all the major offensive categories, but it's, as you've seen in the postseason, runs are tough to come by. That puts a little more pressure on the table setter.
Yeah, it does. I've been having pressure thrown on me ever since series start, but the first series against Boston, I didn't get on base that much, but the team came through with some runs, and the other series I had to get on, and I did, and it made a difference.
What do you see as the key to this series, both for you guys and for stopping Atlanta or getting the edge here?
I can't tell all the secrets, but basically the key is pitching both sides, and the key is if you have good pitching, you also have defense behind us. So if we keep our defense the way it is, it's going to be all right for us.
Dave Campbell rejoins me now, and Dave, I think in the type of tight pitching games that we always get in the postseason, I don't think you can overemphasize the role of these two leadoff hitters.
Gary, so many times the big sluggers don't get it done in postseason because of that dominant pitching. Therefore, you have to manufacture runs, and two of the best in baseball are Marquise Grissom and Kenny Lofton. Grissom scored 42% of the time he got on base this year. Lofton, 49%. I think which either one of these guys has the best series, that may be the key to victory.
Well, Lofton had to do a lot of that against the Mariners, especially Randy Johnson. That's something Cleveland isn't used to. They haven't been hitting the way they're accustomed to. Grissom's a great example. Played very poorly offensively for himself during the regular season, but like the Braves, has really come alive in the postseason.
Been role reversal for the two offenses. The Braves averaged 4.5 runs a game during the season, 6 in the playoffs, where the Indians scored 6 runs a game during the season, only 4.5. Albert Bell did not hit well in the American League Championship or Division Series, so he's going to be a big key as well.
Which offense do you think has the advantage? Is it clearly Cleveland?
I think so, maybe from the standpoint that I think Cleveland's right-handed pitchers pitch better against left-handed hitters, and the Braves have a lot of left-handed hitters.
Okay, a little bit later in SportsCenter, we'll take a look at how this Braves team was put together. Right now, let's go back to Bob.
Okay, Gary, Lofton and Grissom, the respective leadoff men. Lofton with the edge of the stolen bases and the walks in this postseason. Grissom with more power and more runs. Kenny Lofton hit .458 in the LCS with a .517 on-base percentage.
Babe Ruth hadn't hit 15 home runs in World Series competition, even if Mickey Mantle hadn't surpassed Ruth by hitting 18, even if Willie Mays hadn't saved his greatest catch for the series, their stars would still shine bright. But if Don Larson hadn't pitched the only perfect game in a World Series, if Phil Mazeroski hadn't become the first man to end the season with a home run, and if Joe Carter hadn't become the most recent, their stars would be dimmer.
The Sports Reporters with Dick Shop.
Good evening, and welcome to a special World Series edition of the Sports Reporters from Atlanta, site of tomorrow's opening game. We'll be discussing the series with Al Michaels of ABC Sports, who will be broadcasting games 1, 4, 5, and 7, I believe. Mike Lupica of the New York Daily News, who will not be broadcasting any games, and Bob Costas of NBC Sports, who will, I think, be broadcasting games 2, 3, and 6. This may be the first time in the history of this show that Mike Lupica is not absolutely convinced that he is the most glib member of our panel. Well, wait a minute. That's enough. You just proved it. Okay, we'll start with our opening question. How excited are you, Bob, by this matchup?
Very excited. A season that was marred by all manner of things we don't have to get into. A season that featured the first completion of a totally mindless, illegitimate playoff system, and yet it produced 2 legitimate teams. The 2 best teams somehow ran the gauntlet. Baseball will not always be this lucky in the future unless they reform this, but in this case, in terms of the World Series, it did not matter. You had the 2 teams that deserved to be there, that baseball fans would have hoped for all year long, and has a chance to be a great World Series.
How do you feel, Michael?
Well, there's going to be a Senate subcommittee into the wild card to get Bob squared away on this.
After he takes off.
Having left the World Series with Joe Carter's home run, which is one of the great endings to any sports event I've ever seen, And having had to wait 2 years, which nobody ever thought they would do for the World Series, I'm very excited to see this World Series again.
And you, Al?
I love this matchup for a couple of reasons. Number one, the Atlanta Braves, for better or worse, have become, as they like to say, America's team because their games have been on cable for so many years, and they are as well known as any individual team because of that. So people around the country will be seeing a familiar team with a great story as well, a successful team a la the Buffalo Bills, but unable to get over the top. The Cleveland Indians, meanwhile, as everybody knows, has not been to a World Series in 41 years, and they haven't even been close. I mean, they were in the bottom of Dregdom in terms of the way the town was perceived, in terms of their ballpark, and in terms of the product on the field. They have gone from the bottom of Dregdom to the very, very top.
They did at least get to star in a couple of movies. Of course, yes, there were movies making fun of them.
You know what's great about this series is it's really very difficult if you're not from Atlanta or Cleveland to find anyone to root against here. I mean, the Cleveland Indians are such a wonderful story. But on the other hand, it would be a shame to see the Atlanta Braves relegated to, you know, Buffalo Billdom in the way that people view this extraordinary accomplishment of what they've done in the 1990s.
You know, I'm not so sure it's fair to view the Buffalo Bills even the way we view them, but except for the first Super Bowl, the one that you did on ABC with the missed field goal at the end, they weren't close in any of those Super Bowls. Atlanta has played very well in the LCS. Obviously, they've won them. And the World Series, they played well against Minnesota and Toronto. The '91 World Series was a classic. So I think the only thing you don't want to see here is a 4 or 5 game series, which seems unlikely. If it's a 6 or 7 game series, then no matter who wins it, there's no disgrace or should not be for the loser.
One of the series that they lost is one of the best World Series I've ever seen in my life. The one against the Minnesota Twins, where it seemed like every single game came down to a play at the plate in the bottom of the ninth. It was an extraordinary sports event, but they will find that place in sports history if they go all these years and never win the World Series.
The way for them to avoid it, obviously, Al, is their pitching staff. Assess this pitching staff. How good is it?
Well, their starting pitching clearly is the best in baseball right now. They'll send 3 guys to the mound in games 1, 2, and 3, then bring Maddox back in game 4. But between Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz, with Maddox pitching 3 times during the series, they're in very good shape there. I'm saying the same thing that a lot of other people have said. They have a closer right now. At least Mark Wohlers appears to be the closer they haven't had. But I would suggest that in a series that is this even, the setup men are going to be very important. They went out and got Alejandro Pena, brought him back. He had been here before. He did a very good job in the league championship series. And in baseball now, the starter should take it through 7. That 8th inning guy is very important, especially in a tight game. I think a guy like Pena, a guy like Brad Klontz could be a very important figure in the series.
Well, how important can Avery be as doing almost anything in the series?
Well, you can look at it 2 ways. If you've got Greg Maddux, who isn't just the best pitcher in baseball right now, with all due respect to Hershiser, the way he's pitching, or Randy Johnson, he's the best pitcher maybe of our generation. This is a guy that deserves to be compared with the great pitchers in the history of the game. If you've got him, why not pitch him 1-4-7? On the other hand, if you do use Avery in the 4th game, then in the 1st game, you're not looking at Maddox's pitch count when it reaches 95, or Glavine the same in game 2. You're thinking, all right, we can let them go as long as they possibly can, and they might be stronger still if we hold them till the 5th or 6th game.
Do you have any theories to why Maddox has been only human in postseason play?
I would say only the only human theory, or maybe pitching at Coors Field in game 1 where Walter Johnson or Cy Young would have trouble holding their ERA under 4.
And being human against the Phillies, the last time he got to pitch in a big game, you know, he got hit in the foot, and it may have cost the Braves, it probably did cost the Braves, a chance to go to the World Series that time.
How about their lineup? I mean, is it suspect at all? I mean, there are not big-name hitters except for McGriff and Justice.
No, but I think the amazing thing about the Braves is we have gotten to know this team so well, but there has been quite a bit of turnover since they first started coming to the World Series. I mean, there's an opportunity here for the country to fall in love with Chipper Jones right now. Marquise Grissom has had skills that always deserve this kind of stage. The thing I like the best about this series is that tomorrow night the country goes back to a baseball game again. And if I were going to a game, this is the game that I'd want to see.
And it's a nationally televised baseball game too, which is a very, very novel concept, as we all know in this postseason.
The regional pastime, as Al referred to it once.
Is Bobby Cox's job on the line in this series?
I wouldn't suspect so. No, I don't think it is, because what he has done to this point has been he's done stellar and yeoman work, and as far as I can tell, he still has a very good relationship with Stan Kasten. and with Ted Turner. I would say the only possibility his job, Dick, would be on the line is if the Time Warner-Turner merger incorporates some sort of an infusion of influence from the Time Warner people, and they don't like Bobby Cox. Otherwise, I think he's set.
He doesn't hang around Time Warner a lot, does he?
I think
Tom Warner.
Bob's right, though. If they get blown out of this series, I think they might very well take a hard look at the manager's situation. If they somehow go out of this thing in 5 games, which, as Bob says, is unlikely to happen, I can't believe that he would have the most secure job in the whole world.
Well, we're going to take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about a team that has come back from bad luck and from matching talent, the Cleveland Indians.
His name is Max, and he's a nice guy for a vampire. Just don't insult him. Use his furniture.
Never sit on my coffin.
Or ever mess with his girl.
Quickest way to a woman's heart? Through the church. It's actually through the rib cage, but that's a bit messy.
Eddie Murphy and Angela Bassett in a film by Wes Craven. Vampire in Brooklyn.
I would love to have you for dinner.
Rated R. Starts Friday, October 27th, everywhere.
Indians have won 40 seasons without playing in a World Series, the longest drought of any major league team. They've won 46 seasons without winning a World Series. They went 25 seasons in a row without finishing higher than 4th, and 4 years ago, they lost 105 games. Michael, what turned them around?
I think 3 things you have to talk about. One was the Baerga-Alomar trade, which was made before John Hart became general manager. Then all the brilliant work that Hart has done since taking over. And the third and unknowable thing is how much the character of this team was forged by that boating tragedy a couple of springs ago when they lost Tim Cruz and Steve Olin, because sometimes you have to go through a championship series to build up that kind of character. I think it started early for the Cleveland Indians.
I know. I was in the camp the day after the accident, and I mean, you could see that the team was destroyed for the spring and probably for the whole season. What do you think has been the impact since then? Has it made them stronger?
Well, I think it probably has. They dedicated the regular season championship to Olin and Cruz, and it was an emotional ceremony. They needed closure on it, not just the families. The team needed closure on it, but they were on their way to being a good team. The Baerga-Alomar acquisition that Mike mentioned was key, and then John Hart made great deals to get guys like Sorrento and Lofton, and then Ali filled in, you know, with the Eddie Murrays, with the Oral Hersheisers, because you need that veteran presence. Dave Winfield before the body gave out on him. Those guys were important. Dennis Martinez.
It's strange, an inanimate object has also played a part in the building of the ballpark. If you build it, they will win, it seems like.
Yes, and Jacobs Field has been terrific in a number of ways because it's revitalized baseball interest in Cleveland. Apart from the product that they have put on the field, it has also enabled this team now to recruit players. In the past, you would think of Cleveland, and not only the perception of Cleveland as a city, but old Cleveland Stadium, where the Browns still played. I just wanted to say one other thing about that boating tragedy, because I had a long talk with Mike Hargrove about it during the season. He said he was a terrible manager that year. It was a fascinating season. It was going to be their breakout year, because here was a team really on the verge of going somewhere, maybe not to a championship, and then they were set back by this. And Hargrove said he was a terrible manager, but at least everybody had that extra year's worth of experience. And then the breakout year became '94, and now they were in full flower. But that's something that clearly lingers in the backs of the minds of every Cleveland Indian.
Bob, there's been the theory, you know, and people have expounded, you know, that small market teams can't win. Cleveland is a small market, isn't it? Am I correct?
Not really. I think Peter Angelos is right when he says that the terminology is wrong. It should be big revenue and small revenue markets. If you build a Camden Yards, if you build a Jacobs Field, and you have a halfway decent organization, and you have some stars like a Ripken and all the stars that Cleveland has to build something around, then you become a big revenue team. I don't know where Denver ranks exactly as a city in terms of population, but that is a big revenue club. And this Jacobs Field, like Al said, and as you pointed out, that really allows them to convince some guys. I mean, John Hart says with a laugh, I told Oral Hershiser the wind always blows in. 2 days later, we signed Eddie Murray. I told him the wind will always blow out.
You know what's great about Hart? And one of the things that, you know, the Indians bust is that whole small market thing. The other is, if you're smart, if you put your team together smartly, if you spend smartly, everybody says, oh, you can only build for a couple of years now in sports. He's trying to destroy that myth in Cleveland, because the way he staggered his contracts, the nucleus of this team is going to be together for a while.
How did they overcome the fact that last year, just when they finally thought you know, it was safe to go back into the postseason. The season got taken away from them.
Well, I think everybody was in the same boat. I mean, how did the Yankees resolve that? All of the teams who had successful 1994s were in that same boat. I think the Indians just felt that they were a team that really had broken through last year and would continue to do it. And another guy we should mention, as we're talking about all of these trades and free agency acquisitions, Omar Vizquel, another one of the missing links here that traded with Seattle a couple of years ago. And I mean, that was kind of like the final piece.
Don Mattingly made a really smart statement in spring training because they were 70 and 43, the Yankees were last year when the strike came. And he said, there's a sense here that we're going to have to win twice just to win once. And that is quite a burden on a team. The Yankees played like they were hung over from a championship they didn't win. It didn't slow the Indians down at all.
One of the things the Indians did last year was after the strike, they kept everyone on their payroll. They paid all the front office. They didn't lay people off like other people did. They kept a feeling of unity, a feeling of family. One of the nice things yesterday, I was at their workout in Cleveland, and I said to the owner, Richard Jacobs, I said, in 1954, did you go to the World Series? He says, are you kidding? I couldn't afford to go to the World Series. You know, now he builds a ballpark.
Yeah, Al mentioning Omar Vizquel just very briefly. That's another great trade for Felix Fermin from Seattle. More than any other player, he, for me, was the eye-opener because you know with numbers what Albert Bell is about and what Eddie Murray's career has been about. But you need to see Vizquel for several days running, and he just was eye-popping for me in the Division Series and in the LCS. He's so stylish, and he's really taken over from Ozzie Smith, not only in terms of being the best fielder, but the guy with the finesse and with the style at that position.
They all have great names, Ozzie, Omar. So is there a difference in the pressure now in the World Series than there was last week?
There is different pressure for each of these teams, and they talk about it. For the Braves, the pressure is to win this thing. For the Indians, you don't want to go in and say, hey, look, we've done a lot of good things, and it doesn't matter. You don't let yourself think in those terms, but I always find it funny that teams that are in the Indians' position will say, oh, no, 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 this won't be a successful year until we win it, and then they all write books about 3 years later, and they say, you know, the problem was when we got to that World Series, we didn't really think about what it would mean to win it.
Do you think that's true? Is there that feeling? Is there the danger of that feeling among the Indians?
Well, it would be quite ironic if this team, which was 144, doesn't win. The last Indians team, they won 111 regular season games and got swept. What are the Indians up to now? They're up to 107. So if they get 4 in this World Series, they will get back to 111, but this time they'll win.
Who do you think might step up in this series? Who do you like? Some of you who could take over the series?
Well, I think Hershiser could. Either one of the first 2 pitchers, Hershiser or Maddox. On the basis of what he's done over the last several years, Maddox is the guy. But on the basis of the last several starts, there isn't much to choose between the two of them.
When Hershiser left Los Angeles, did you think he was finished?
I didn't think he was finished. I thought he would hook on with somebody, but I didn't want to see his career just sort of peter out. I didn't want to see him become the kind of guy who would go somewhere and finish with a record of 8-11 and an ERA of 4.63. I think he had some doubt in his mind. I also know he was devastated that the Dodgers didn't offer him a contract. He'll say that he understood why, but, you know, the Dodgers are a funny organization. They talk about loyalty on both sides of the coin, but Steve Garvey was let go at a certain point, and Oral Hershiser was let go at a certain point, and that cut him deeply.
Oral Hershiser and Greg Maddux walk down the street. You say there are 2 of the greatest athletes of our time.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the miracles of the World Series past.